Hello, everybody.
Yo, what's going on?
Welcome to the Anime Mystics Podcast. I am Roman.
I'm Steven Sonosuke-sama.
And this should be a relatively short episode.
Yes.
We're not going to do our usual ranting about the decline of Western comics and media.
Oh, no.
This is just going to be a short discussion about a couple of anime we finished.
Mm-hmm.
Nagatoro. We did watch Record of Ragnarok on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a couple of other things. Like, upcoming watch parties, stuff like that.
Yeah. Everything is basically set in the future now, because I got things on my plate that are now coming up. Guess you could say they've moved off the stove and onto my plate that I have to deal with, so personal stuff. Yeah, it's like Roman said, we're just at least going to talk about shows that we finished and kind of start on shows that seem promising that I've seen people talk about that caught my eye.
Right.
I'm still working on last season stuff and even a couple shows from January, so I have a lot of catching up to do. But
Same. We'll eventually get it done.
Yeah.
We got plenty of time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. And to play off what Roman said, the reason why there's going to be no ranting and raving on why manga is kicking everyone's ass right now is because I have some friends lined up to join us to actually talk about it from their perspective. They actually work at a comic shop out here in the Bay Area, and I've been dying to have them come on and talk to us because they have their own podcast, and they talk about like the exact opposite stuff that we talk about, where we focus on like Japanese and Eastern related like anime, manga, video games, movies. They actually do the same, but it's the Western stuff. So they're sci-fi, superheroes, Lord of the Rings, fantasy, all of that. So I've always been asking them like, hey, did you see that? Hey, what'd you think about that? Hey, how's it feel to know you're losing to a chick named Froppy? And so and I've been telling them, and yeah, it's been a back and forth, but finally at my 4th of July barbecue I had over the weekend, they were both here, and so I finally in my drunken stupor cornered them and said, hey, come talk to us. Well, I've been dying to have you come talk to us. And so then they were like, yeah, sure. So I'm looking forward to having them on. We were, like I said, they couldn't contain it because both of the guys, they also have their own different perspectives, and they were already kind of getting into it with me and with each other, and so I was like, save it, I want to record all of this. This is great. And it was fun. I was having fun with it, and so yeah, I think that it'll be a very passionate discussion, and it'll be interesting because they were dropping little tidbits of what it's like working at a comic shop. To which I made the joke too. I was like, yeah, it's a comic shop for now, but by the end of the year, it'll just be a manga shop. Boom, dish. They keep this up, right? So, yeah. And he actually answered that, said they would be carrying more manga, but I guess because the size differences, they need to order like different shelves and whatnot. Right. Which ties into the pictures that people have taken from like Barnes and Nobles, where the graphic novel section instead of it used to be like Watchmen and the compilations of Spider-Man Avenger stories and reprints like Infinity Saga, Infinity Gauntlet, Secret War. Now it's all like One Piece, Bleach, Naruto Shippuden, Rental Girlfriend, all of this stuff. Comey Can't Communicate, all that stuff. Yeah, and then at the very end, like the last bookcase, or even the half of the last bookcase, that'll be Western related graphic novels like Marvel, DC, and indie stuff. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say. We just need to lock down some logistics. Because I think one of them might be joining us through Discord, and then the other guy, he'll come down in person. But yeah, we'll work on that, and I think it'll be fun. I honestly think it'll be fun. And again, I refer to Roman when it comes to the Western stuff because he hasn't really given up on it as much as I have, really. And it's not even to say that I'm completely in. I think that I'm just waiting for something to motivate me. Like if something good, like Punisher related, for instance, came out, I mean, like The Boys. I liked The Boys on Amazon, and I've even considered buying The Boys, the graphic novel. I just need to track it down because I think, like, I don't think any comic shops locally have picked it up. I don't know why, but I know that Amazon might get it. But I would prefer to buy it from like them or the Japanese bookstore in Japantown, Kinokuniya. I'm trying to live up to my words. What's up?
I'm surprised that nobody has. They do have the show, and it's been out for 2 seasons.
Yeah, and I think that they're trying to reprint. Last I heard, because I guess it's older. It was from like 05 maybe 06, something like that. And so it was just not being in print, and then they made the show, and now everyone's like, oh wait, I want to read the source material, because people have pointed out the differences from the show versus the graphic novel. So
right.
Now I just kind of need to wait to get my hands on a copy, but that's something that's on my radar too. So again, I'm not completely out of it. I'm just really, really disillusioned.
Need something to get you back in.
Yeah.
Pull you.
Yeah. Which again was a conversation that I had with one of the guys, and I was telling him about all the stuff from like Heroes Reborn and the Spider-Man Identity Crisis, the Clone Saga thing, and all that. So. He actually said, he's like, you do know about comics. I was like, yeah, I do. It's just I didn't stick around long enough. I wasn't hardcore about it or stuck around like you guys did, and I was always a dirty weeb. So, I was always underneath you guys, in terms of the hierarchy. It was always like, sports guys and like car guys, and then it was like something else in between. Then it was like comic book guys. Then it was video games. Then it was us. At the very bottom was the weebs. So...
We're starting to climb our way up.
Exactly. Now we're out the pit and we're flexing on them. So, and I said that too. I the example I've been saying, and I said that, back in the 90s, if we wore a Rey or Asuka t-shirt from Evangelion, everyone would look disgusted and back away from us, Like, it would be like the worst thing. Like, you had the plague. So, but now that you wear a Nezuko shirt, and they're like, oh shit, you watch Demon Slayer? Me too! So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll have a lot of incitement. And I look forward, in particular, I want to see Roman's engagement with these guys. And I've known them for a long time. They're good dudes. And I told them too, I'm not trying to, do a gotcha or be like, ha ha ha, suck Nezuko's dick. And, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I'm not trying to do that. I want to see what I'm seeing on YouTube matches up what's happening on the ground. Because remember, there's always two sides of the story. We see the sales reports, but then when you talk to somebody, they're like, bro, if the sales were really that sucky, how would our doors stay open? Which is a good point. If people aren't buying it, and maybe they are being supported by manga, have they started carrying more Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Boku Hero, all that? They did actually have the Racer Nero Figma. They took a picture of it and sent it to me, and I was like, nice. And you do, because that's like, it was only for Wonderfest.
Yeah.
And so they got a copy of that. I was like, you can probably sell some that. You can get at least 200, I'd say. For probably 125 on the low end to 200 on the high end. Because it was special.
Exclusive.
Exactly. And they got their hands on one. So I was like, oh, you can get some bang for that. You find the right weeb. I bought mine directly from the Good Smile website while it was up for pre-order. So I was like, I'm good. But I was like, that's definitely going to be a good one when someone picks it up. So
right.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, I'm excited. I think that this will be fun. Yeah, we'll get to see what it's like on the other side of it.
Yeah, good to hear another perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of our usual.
Yeah, I think that at this point, after talking about it for a while, and I also reminded him too that this came up when the Corona-chan really started getting into it, and we were at your place and we were talking Boku Hero with the overhaul story.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, we're over here, we're talking about Boku Hero and Froppy, and as a matter of fact, the main villain's name was Overhaul. And it was pretty good, And then what's Marvel's response? Snowflake and Safe Space.
Yeah.
And I was like telling him, I was like, that was the first time I kind of raised an eyebrow, like, excuse me? What? Did I? You know, we're over here like, yeah, you know, Mount Lady came back, fuck yeah, and then they're all like, here's Safe Space and Snowflake. Internet gas he's a vampire named B negative, and it's like
Morbius Jr. Basically all it was.
Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. It just blew my mind, and so, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, and them too. They've had these kinds of conversations, like what we've been talking about. They've had conversations amongst themselves on their podcast, which we'll get all the information to when we talk to them, when we have our talk or discussion. And they've also had words exchanged between them about the direction like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and DC and Marvel are going. And we'll tie it all into the rise of anime supremacy and see where it goes.
Yeah.
So.
Should be good.
Yeah. So, yeah. So and we might record it on a different day, but ideally, I think Roman will still keep it on the same 2-week schedule. So even if we were to record it next week, we'll just throw it up 2 weeks from now. So
yeah.
In the meantime, like I said, we'll figure out logistics and get it recorded, get it locked in.
Yeah.
And then, so the next watch party. So because of my personal life stuff, that's just ignoring all of Roman's desires. I'm just being greedy and selfish. The next viewing party will be the Roselia movie, because I will finally watch Bang Dream that's not Garu Pico. Oh, man. Have you seen the first movie?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't seen the movies yet.
Okay.
I've been waiting.
Okay, so the only movies that have come out then are these 2 Roselia movies?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then I guess you kind of answered my question, because I was about to say, did Michelle kill someone?
Michelle? No, not yet.
Not yet. I was going to say possibly. This could change. So it's just a movie, and it looked like it was going to be super dramatic and super like, oh my God, Lisa. And then it's all like, and someone falls out the plane. So it's all like, Michelle just killed the guy.
Yeah, that would be Hello Happy World falling out of the plane. Like in Garu Pico when they were skydiving. And Michelle didn't have her parachute.
Which she had a keyboard though.
Yeah, she had her DJ
station.
Yeah. But no parachute. Who needs a parachute when you got your DJ equipment?
Oh man. Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll do the first movie, and then we'll do the second movie, and then that'll be it for the viewing parties for the foreseeable future.
Right.
At least or until we figure something out. But yeah, I think that personally, I think that'll be on a good note, because, like I said, I know that Roman's been waiting for me to get into the Bang Dream Beyond the gag parody show,
which did get another season. So
nice,
yeah,
excellent.
I'll be watching that too.
I just thought it would be like me saying Fist of the North Star is the best. Go watch the super chibi Fist of the North Star DD show.
I've actually seen that.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't, so go figure. Because that's what kind of turned me off. I was like, wait a minute.
The chibi?
Yeah, the chibi. Like, oh my goodness.
But they're working at like a convenience store. Yeah. It's so funny.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's great.
And Jaggy just sits outside the store going like, what's my name?
I should be back by next April for sure, and so yeah, we'll finally do that Fist of the North Star American live action, where his name is Jaguar.
Oh yeah.
So
Jaguar. And he's played by what is that guy's name? I know he was in Reservoir Dogs. He was in a lot of movies.
Oh man. Not Mads Mikkelsen, something.
Yeah, no, it's not him. It's a bigger dude, like
Michael Madsen.
No, he doesn't play Jaggy. Chris Penn.
Really?
Chris Penn plays Jaggy.
No way.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'd take that back. I don't want to watch your movie anymore. You just friendship ended. It's over. Oh, man. And we had this discussion too in the Discord where you said that too. You're like, Hollywood's already been ruining anime, and I was all like, yes, but not at the frequency that they're doing it now. Now it seems like every week now they were like, what did we screw up? Death Note. What's next? Bleach. What's next?
Did you see the poll?
No. Yeah.
That Japan had asking which anime they wanted Hollywood to do, and they said
none. None was the winner. None was the winner. Yes.
It sucks too because I think Netflix is doing a One Piece live action or something.
You know, we'll talk about this in a minute. Actually, I was going to say we should start with Ragnarok too, since first of all, I just finished it today, and second off, I have things to kind of say about it, good and positive. I'm not going to lie, good and positive. But yeah, in terms of the live action stuff Netflix wants to do, I don't mind them doing it because it's good because we are getting stuff like Ragnarok. I did see that High Rise Invasion is on, and that's on my list. So, if anything, after I finish Horse Girls, I might just knock that out. Because I gotta hand it to Netflix, at the very least, their system where you can skip the opening and the endings actually cuts it down to about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, it actually went really, really, really fast. But I do want to knock out High Rise Invasion. That one also looks like another dumb in and out kind of a show. So, But yeah, in terms of their live action stuff, why don't they finish, injuring all of their actors from Cowboy Bebop before they start doing the same thing with One Piece? How's that sound?
Well, I mean, they got to injure a certain amount of actors. They got a quota.
I was going to say, they have a quota
to
meet.
Yeah. So, doesn't matter if one's injured, they got to get at least 15.
So Jet and Spike are injured, but Faye and Ed, they're still good. They still have both working legs. We could keep going, filming.
What about Ein?
Ooh, well, we can't injure Ein because then we'd get PETA on us. So if the dog gets injured,
we don't want to die of laughter because PETA's on us.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how people can support that company, but whatever. We're not getting into that.
Yeah, no, that's different. That's different. Yeah, it's yeah, but yeah, we'll do it. Fist of the North Star live action on April Fools, and then broader discussion will be had about live actions,
anime, and shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it on the update side, I want to say.
Yep.
So, but yeah. So I for sure have I finished Record of Ragnarok and Nagatoro.
Right.
And you said you finished Slimes. Killing Slimes. I
actually didn't get to, but I did finish Godzilla Singular Point.
Okay, interesting. All right, we can go off that.
Yeah.
There's a running joke on Yellow Flash's live stream that he does on Saturdays. Him and that Umbrella guy, they keep going back and forth over who loves the Matthew Broderick version. They were like, yeah, I heard Yellow Flash loves that one. And he's like, no, I heard you like that one. And they're both like, I'm looking for the perfect Father's Day gift. And they're like, oh, well, Yellow Flash, he loves Matthew Broderick, so you can get that Blu-ray for him. And reminded me too, so I'm going to throw this out there so you remind me, but as much crap as people give it, like the Japanese, I guess, still consider that part of Godzilla lore, like part of the Godzilla history.
What, Singular Point?
No, the Matthew Broderick one.
The Matthew, no.
Okay, because
the 98 movie they hated.
Okay.
What they did was they bought the rights to the monster.
Okay.
And then had Godzilla kill him in Final Wars.
Interesting. That's interesting.
8 seconds.
Nice.
It was an 8-second fight.
Nice. Okay, that explains it. Because I was going to tell you when they had the pop-up at Kinokuniya in San Francisco, there was the Godzilla 98.
Yeah.
I forgot what they called him though. Was it like Godzilla USA maybe? Zilla? Okay.
Yeah, they just took out God and just left Zilla.
Okay, that makes sense. Because that's what I was curious. I was like, I don't think they were fans of it, but they still were selling merch, at least because they were like acknowledging that, like, yeah, it was a thing. Can't really deny it. Because, it can be like, what about Matthew Broderick version? Never happened. No, it's right there. What? No, not that. So, but yeah, we can go more into that.
Go the way of the E.T. Atari game.
Yeah. Bury it in the landfill.
By the way, the Japanese hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Was Toei?
Mm-hmm.
No, not Toei. Toho.
Toho.
Hated it. and bought the rights to Zilla, and then just had him killed in the movie Godzilla Final Wars.
Amazing.
They also distinguished because they kept him CGI
Mm-hmm.
and Godzilla in a suit, so they could let you know, yeah, this isn't ours. Look at him. He looks like. And then after he died, the alien that had sent him against Godzilla said, "I knew that stupid iguana wasn't worth anything."
Oh man, based Japan. That's how the world is going to be saved, is because of based Japan. I'm telling you. If I haven't told you before, I'm telling you now. They know how to deal with this. See, they don't run away from their mistakes. They take action. They're like, yeah, we fucked up. Here, we're going to rectify it. Boom, solved.
Right.
This is our apology. We apologized and we showed our sincere apologies through action, not just words. Backed it up with action. We're sorry Matthew Broderick happened. Problem solved. Never will happen again. But yeah.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I liked the movie when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
I mean, one, he is just a giant iguana.
Yeah.
From the, the atom bomb testing near, was it Bikini Island is what it was?
Yes.
Yeah. All he does is run fast. He digs. Or she, whatever, it's asexual, so, whatever. See, they were even starting back then. No, I'm kidding. No fire breath. No drop kicks, like in Godzilla vs. Megalon. He didn't fly, like in Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. And then he died from a few missiles.
Interesting.
Which actually, from what I read, was one of Japan's things.
Mm-hmm.
You can't kill Godzilla.
I mean, not even King Kong could. So.
But they got around that by having an egg survive and then hatch at the end of the movie. So, yeah. Even still, they hated the movie. And, yeah, I guess there was supposed to be a sequel to it, but that went out the door after that movie was released. And then they had the animated series, which a lot of people liked, actually. Apparently that was a lot better. I never watched it, but apparently it was pretty good.
That was the kids show, right?
Yeah, with the hatchling that survived at the end of the movie was the Godzilla in this. So, yeah, he actually had, or she, whatever, had fire breath. I think it was actual fire breath, not like the radioactive blast normal Godzilla has. But yeah, most people agree that if it wasn't called Godzilla, it would be a good movie.
Yeah, I want to say that it made money, but I think it was more like people were curious because they wanted to see a Godzilla movie, and they didn't really care like the quality. But then when they saw it, they were like, "Yeah, this is not really that good."
Yeah.
And then Puff Daddy kind of ruined Kashmir.
Right.
Led Zeppelin's Kashmir.
So yeah. Japan hates him. But yeah, they didn't have him in singular point, so that's good. That was good. They only had like maybe 6 monsters
Okay.
in singular point. Anguillus, Rodan, Manda, Kumanga, which is the giant spider.
Okay.
But there was like hundreds of them.
Oh wow. So you said Kumo, so now I'm thinking of Spider So What? So you had 100 Awayukis. That's adorable. If I was Godzilla, I'd just roll over and she'd be like, come at me. So.
Gabara?
Okay.
Although they called him something else in this, but you knew it was supposed to be Gabara. Who was actually from my least favorite Godzilla movie, Godzilla's Revenge, which is all about Minya, his son, on like this adventure with this little kid. It was definitely a kid's movie because the kid was mainly dreaming about being on Monster Island, and Minya was like his guide and friend, and they were talking and having all this fun. And then Gabara would show up as like a giant ogre thing and would pick on Minya.
Well, you shouldn't really have to worry about it that much because it's not actually an island. It's more Monster Island is a peninsula.
I thought it was surrounded by water, though. Doesn't that make it an island?
It's The Simpsons.
Oh.
We sentence you to Monster Island. No worries, not really all it's cracked up to be. He thought he said, I forgot, I'm misquoting here, I know, but it was like, yeah, the truth is not really an island, it's actually a peninsula.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Learned something new today.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla. Oh, they did kind of have Mothra as well.
Mm.
But it was like a swarm of moths and not like one giant moth.
What was it? Godzilla singular.
Yeah, singular point.
Anguirus.
And it had Kentucky, as you can see.
Mm-hmm. Unico. Oh, hey. Nope. Yeah. Kugamiya, yeah. I know her. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Same thing with the Uruna Onodera. She's kind of a newer voice actress, though.
Ah.
Hmm.
Oh, they had a baseball play?
Oh wow, Ryotaro Okayo Ryotaro. He's I just learned that he's the voice of Michael Jackson in Demon Slayer.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Interesting. All right. So I see some people I recognize. Interesting. But who are the main characters though?
Arikawa Yoon, that guy right there. Yeah. Kamino May.
Okay, so there you go.
Alright. There are a few others, but I can't remember their names. Me and names suck, so yeah. But, I don't know, it's gotten mixed reviews from the Godzilla fans. Most, like how the people who don't like something are more loud.
Yes.
So
correct.
I see a lot of hate for Godzilla Singular Point.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because there wasn't a whole lot of monster action. It took a long time for Godzilla to show up. He actually didn't show up till episode... fully Godzilla until episode 10 of a 13-episode series. But when he did, he was pretty awesome. So that's all I need. There was a lot of science talk, and most of it's just sci-fi type science.
Right.
Like nothing that's actually real, made up science. Yeah,
Nano machines, son.
Because Singular Point is like some scientific thing where I think Godzilla was basically the singular point, and he was creating red dust, which was bringing in all the Rodan monsters, and because they needed it to survive, and all this weird science stuff that was kind of difficult to follow because they throw a lot at you in just about every episode with it, but by the end you get it. So, but a lot of people didn't like that it dealt with a lot of the science talk, and they wanted more monsters. Anguirus died in 2 episodes, so I mean, and I don't think they liked that they weren't giant. Like Anguirus was maybe the size of a tank. Godzilla was the biggest at, I think, 150, 160 feet. But other than that, all the other monsters are pretty small compared to how they usually are portrayed.
Mm.
And I don't think a lot of people like that. But I thought it was fun. It was a good anime, at least for me, because Godzilla was pretty awesome when he was on screen. My only complaint was making Jet Jaguar the hero, basically.
Of course.
Because, in Godzilla vs. Megalon, they were partners. They teamed up. But in this one, I don't know, some... I guess it can be considered like a robotics company.
Mm-hmm.
But they did mostly mechanical work. Created Jet Jaguar, and I don't know, the owner of the shop, I guess, had him in case something went wrong and they needed something to protect Japan. It's like, where'd you get this information? But
So remind me again, specifically in terms of Jet Jaguar, was he created because they wanted to ride the Sentai and Ultraman craze?
Probably.
Okay.
Because there was him, and then there was another series that I know came out that was kind of like Ultraman.
Yeah.
That Godzilla, like Gigan, King Ghidorah, they made appearances in.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla and this other, like Ultraman-like dude would team up to fight like Gigan. Or actually, Gigan died on his show. Like they killed him off in this show.
Jeez.
And King Ghidorah, Godzilla, and him had to team up in order to, because King Ghidorah is usually the stronger monster that they have to deal with. So they had to team up to fight King Ghidorah. But yeah, I forget the name of that show. But I think it was only a couple of seasons from like the 70s.
So it was Jet Jaguar and King Ghidorah?
No, it was. I don't remember the name of.
Say knockoff.
Yeah.
How Jet Jaguar defeated Godzilla. Say spoilers. Is Jet Jaguar and Ultraman the same?
Total created a robot based on the Ultraman design.
Megalon.
Yeah, Godzilla vs. Megalon is where he made his appearance. It's the only appearance before Singular Point.
It's Jet Jaguar, you moron. Is Jet Jaguar good or bad? Is Mechagodzilla stronger than Godzilla? Well, I think Rowan could have told you that.
Yeah. Godzilla usually needs help to fight Mechagodzilla, so... Actually, maybe if you type in who killed Gigan? G-I-G-A-M. Maybe in the 70s. Because, yeah, he did die in Final Wars as well.
In the 7 Deadly Sins.
Who killed Megan? What?
Zone
Fighter, that's what it was.
Zone Fighter. That sounds like an Ultraman knockoff. There it is, Zone Fighter Gigan.
Zone Fighter and Godzilla versus...
Is Zone Fighter canon?
Supplementary material published by Toho have confirmed Zone Fighter to be part of the Showa-era Godzilla series.
Hmm?
Taking place in between Godzilla vs. Megalon and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Is Zone Fighter a Ultraman? Inspired, obviously. Pretty sure Ultraman came before all of those, right? Goofy looking Gigan.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Man, yeah. And so I never understood when I started hearing about it. I was like, so they just made an Ultraman character in the Godzilla universe, but I guess they were trying to ride the craze at the time. But I was like, I don't think that they really needed that. But I guess they just did, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. I guess so. And he didn't even look like that. Like his arms were skinny in Singular Point. His legs were skinny.
Which Godzilla was this one?
The Showa era. This from the 70s.
Okay.
That is definitely the design from like Megalon and Mechagodzilla.
He's got like feelers,
right?
And the lobster claw, or is it the scorpion claw?
Right. Yeah, you need that. It makes him look menacing.
Godzilla's like, "What up, bitch?" Oh shit, we're going down now.
The Terror Beasts.
Looks like Mecha. Is that Mecha?
No, that looks like Gigan actually.
Okay. All right, so we're still looking at the same things. Oh, and that's Zone Fighter, I guess.
Yeah, that's Zone Fighter.
Okay. Yeah, I'm new to all of this. As a matter of fact, now that I reflect on it, I think those have been the only 2 Godzilla movies I've seen beginning to end, not like I come in through the middle and I walk away, or might have been late night on TV and I just passed it, is Matthew Broderick and Kong versus Godzilla. So I'm as normie as it gets, and it's the worst kind of normie.
Well, you did also watch the first anime Godzilla movie.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true, yes.
Because we did that for a watch party.
Yes, and I still have the other ones, too.
Right, yeah.
What? They made it put him in the fighting game?
It looks like it, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Godzilla, Stone Fighter, Ghidorah, Gigan. I don't know who those other monsters are.
Garuga Gorilla? Spider Uros? Shadora?
Yeah, those are definitely Zone Fighter monsters. I don't know them. Because I never actually watched the Zone Fighter.
Barakadon? Okay. Garuborg, Zerodala, Malgranda. Okay.
They just like grabbed a bunch of letters and said, just come up with something with this for these names.
So they borrowed Godzilla, Ghidorah, and Gigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they killed Gigan on that show. Because I remember seeing a clip of that.
Oh my god, they killed Gigan! You bastards!
Right? Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed Singular Point. I thought it was good. I don't understand. It seems like a lot of Godzilla fans now are, I guess, spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Some of them seem to be spoiled from the MonsterVerse movies. Some of them seem to think that only the Japanese ones are any good. You know how that goes.
What you trying to say? You guys hear that? You just called me out. This is it's about the 2 years we've been doing this. I think this is the first time you just directly called me out. I'm not trying to call you a weeb, but you're a weeb. But anyway, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, so just about anything new that comes out, it's like, nah, I don't want it. Like Singular Point, the anime movies that came out. But I mean, I haven't seen the other two, so I don't know what those are like. I've only seen the first one. And I mean, it's okay if the main character wasn't like an Eren Yeager ripoff.
I'm going to get you, Godzilla. Ah, shakes fist.
And I think I mentioned it during that watch party, but I hate that storyline where there's a character that's like, I gotta get revenge on Godzilla because he killed my family or he killed my partner. Or, It's like, God, do you know how many people Godzilla has killed?
Apparently 8 in Florida.
Right? 8 people in Florida.
That's going to be 8 Eren Yeagers.
So.
Oh, yeah, but no, I get you.
Wow.
See, I remembered.
So, yeah, it's just, I don't understand what these people want.
Probably in 5 in Hong Kong, I guess.
Like how I don't understand these people who want more Godzilla movies for the U.S. series.
Yeah.
But want it to be kept down to earth. Like, they don't want aliens. They don't want anything that's like way over the top. It's like, this is Godzilla, right? A lot of Godzilla's enemies are alien monsters. And a lot of the things that try to attack the Earth are aliens, so you gotta have the aliens. Like, the original Mechagodzilla was created by aliens.
I was about to say, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. Ghidorah, even in the King of the Monsters, is an alien monster that came to Earth to try to take over. Gigan is a space monster. You got Space Godzilla.
Literally space in the name.
Yeah. Which actually was supposed to be a design for a Super Godzilla for a movie, but they scrapped the movie and just used the design for Space Godzilla instead.
Oh, jeez. This is the toy, too. Oh, yeah, it's only $400.
Only. I guess what they would want is Space Godzilla to look like in the MonsterVerse.
This is
That's him in the movie.
Damn. because I was curious. I was like, "What? How does he look different?" But he's got like kryptonite crystals growing out of his back.
Yeah, basically the origin of Space Godzilla is some of the particles from Biollante got into a space crystal and fused into Space Godzilla, because Biollante shares Godzilla's cells. Because the scientists thought it would be a good idea to fuse Godzilla's cells and his daughter's DNA with a rose. Because her favorite plant was a rose, and he wanted them to live forever, because Godzilla's cells regenerate constantly. So they would basically live forever. And then it mutated into Biollante, and there was a whole thing.
Bruh.
Destroyer. That thing was made from the oxygen destroyer that killed the first Godzilla in 1954.
Yeah. So that's what the community is upset about, is they don't want. Yeah, I agree, because it was like, obviously humans and beings that exist on the planet don't do much to phase Godzilla. So what's left? Stuff that's out from beyond, that is unknown. And then that also helps from a writing standpoint, because it's like you said, you just make shit up.
Right?
Just make it up. It's like, he's made from space debris that landed on vibranium flowers and Mecha Space Destroyer Godzilla. Boom! Done.
There it goes. Make it work.
Yeah. And what's the one with the chainsaw on his back?
On his back?
Yeah. Buzzsaw, or the buzzsaw on his back.
You might be thinking of Gigon.
I think
he
that
has
is Gigon.
like a saw, things right here that, like a saw on his stomach.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, that's Gigon.
Okay, yeah. Then he's got just a saw.
He's got the saw on the claws and.
So, but when it was in the 60s, 70s, and the 50s and all that, when they were doing that with space monsters and all that, they were cool with that. But if they tried to do it in 2021, now it's a problem.
Right. For I guess this new generation of Godzilla fan, because keep all that out of Godzilla. Godzilla doesn't need it. Really? Godzilla was built on alien death. Yeah. So come on.
Yeah, that's a tough sell. They're playing Virgil. Hey.
They could keep making up monsters based off of Earth, but where's the fun in that?
Right. It's gotta be.
There's only so many you could do. The first monsters they came up with were bugs. That seems to be, like you said, common for the U.S.
Yeah.
Just make giant bugs.
Yeah, Starship Troopers.
Right. And then they went and borrowed Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah for the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
The classic monsters from Godzilla. Oh no, from Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. I think was 64 or something like that. I could be wrong about the date. And then the other one was Godzilla vs. Kong, which is just a remake of King Kong vs. Godzilla. But with Godzilla winning, like he should have from the very beginning. So I will never believe that Kong will ever be able to beat Godzilla.
But he had Stormbringer.
I was watching some video.
Yeah.
It was a nature video from this. I think he does TikTok. It's called Hood Nature, and he was bringing up gorillas, and he brought up. It was like, could a gorilla beat a bear, like a grizzly?
Okay.
And he's like, you people are stupid if you think that a gorilla is going to beat a bear. But then again, some of you thought that a gorilla was going to beat a radioactive dinosaur with armor. He's all the only thing Kong had going for him was plot armor, and he still lost.
Not wrong. Oh man.
So even in that kind of thing, they're like, yeah, no. How could you think that Kong was going to win? Like, even when he had the axe, it didn't help at all.
Right.
He hit Godzilla in the head with the axe, and it didn't even damage his head. Just knocked him down for a couple minutes, and then he got back up.
Remember when we talk about Ragnarok to talk about Thor? Speaking of Stormbringer, but yeah. Interesting stuff about that. But yeah, no, I this is all news to me, learning about the power differences and all of that. And because, when I see these designs and just got all this radioactive space shit growing out of his back. I'm like, how does Godzilla even stand up to this?
It also doesn't help that Space Godzilla has like telekinetic powers.
Jeez.
So he can like lift Godzilla up with like electricity and like throw him all over the place.
Yeah.
Basically, he was getting all of his power from the spikes on his shoulder. So once you get rid of them, he wasn't able to use any of those powers anymore.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's some pretty cool fan art right there.
Yeah, I don't know. And I get it too though, as fans, that you guys are like me. You're like, how does he win? I gotta watch. Take my $15. So, and again, that goes back to the good storytelling, and even when they make you invested in rubber suit monsters like that, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
His insides are all like visible like that?
Well, they're not really his insides. It's just the color of his like torso.
I was like, oh, his guts are hanging out. I was like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, that looks more like a nowadays design, like based off of MonsterVerse. No, there's Biollante.
This one?
The plant thing in the back.
Oh. You'll get used to it.
Biollante is actually one of my favorite monsters based off of the design.
Oh.
It also spits acid.
Cute. What the hell?
Respect women juice.
I'm missing context here, but okay. Oh, there it is, 3 heads.
Yeah, Ghidorah.
Oh yeah,
I have that one, I think.
Movie monsters. It's only $80. It's not too bad.
I have that one, and I have a bigger one that I think cost me like $150.
I did.
Back in high school.
Oh,
So I was buying those figures back in high school. Size chart.
this is Rodan.
Yeah.
This is
Angulus.
okay. And then that's Ghidorah. That's Zilla. That's
Saigon.
okay. Oh yeah, there's the saw.
Yeah.
There's the saw.
And then they just...
They put the iguana. It's like a troll. It's just like, yeah, we're having a big logical discussion about Godzilla's. Did you see Matthew Broderick version? Oh man. Did you care much for Pacific Rim?
I like the first one. I haven't seen the second one. I heard it was pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
But, I got to make my own opinion. Oh, yeah, see, that's Biollante.
Interesting. This is the pulsating weak spot. So this is what you shoot to win?
Basically. But again, Biollante has Godzilla's cells in her, so...
God damn.
Would you believe this was created by a dentist?
No.
Yes.
That's terrifying.
They did a competition because they didn't know what to make the next monster.
Mm-hmm.
So they put out a competition to have fans put in their designs and send them to them.
Mm-hmm.
And whichever one they thought was the best would be put into a movie. And I guess some dentist, I forget where, created Biollante and sent them his design, and they liked it, so they used it for the movie.
Damn.
Oh yeah, that's what the acid spit on Godzilla.
Jeez. That's cool. Is it bigger than a skyscraper? Like, legit?
Yeah, I think Biollante is about the size of Ghidorah.
Damn.
Then you got, like, the little tendril things that raise up.
Right.
They also spit acid, so it's like...
So how does Godzilla win? Is in summary, so you don't need to recount the whole thing.
I think technically in this one, Godzilla lost.
Oh.
But that was only because the human characters put some... it was like a bacteria inside of Godzilla that would start sucking out all of his energy.
Hmm.
And all Biollante had to do was fight with Godzilla for a certain amount of time and heat up his body a bit so that it would make the bacteria, spread further, quicker. And then Godzilla just went back into the ocean because he couldn't continue fighting.
And it looks like 89?
Yeah, 89.
Oh, it's not that old.
I think this was right after Godzilla Returns, which was 84.
4.5 on Amazon. Interesting.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the better storylines in the Godzilla movies. Like, I can't really watch a Godzilla movie for the story. Even as a fan, like, the stories for the Godzilla movies aren't that great for me. Mm-hmm. They're usually pretty boring. Usually why I just skip to the fights.
That's an interesting concept for me, because if you're saying that this is a storyline where technically Godzilla lost, but you and the fans are saying that this was one of the better stories. So that's it. And then, I sometimes I have a thing about, when the bad guys win and you're kind of leaving on a sour note. Not as much as like when the main character gets killed off for, story purposes. That's just depressing. But usually it's because for Empire Strikes Back, for instance, it's like, oh, not so much with Infinity War, because I knew that shenanigans were going to happen, but it was more like, how were the shenanigans going to come into play?
Yeah.
Because they had so many options they could take. But yeah, I accidentally triggered somebody with that, because they were like, oh, it's so sad with Infinity War, and I was like, yeah, but they're gonna come back. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. And then they freaked out. They're like, ah! And I was like, oh, dude, the sequel's next year. Okay, we get resolution in a year. Relax. Okay, jeez, man.
Well, I mean, for Godzilla versus Biollante, I believe Godzilla was supposed to be a villain.
Oh.
Biollante was like a scientific accident. So, plus it had the scientist's daughter's DNA, so it had her conscience in it.
Okay.
So when their final fight happened, when they're in this giant monster-looking plant form, they came to help keep Godzilla from destroying more stuff and help the bacteria to spread.
And so what they said in Kong versus Zilla, is that why these things keep happening? Because Godzilla hears or senses them and then has to come strut his stuff?
In this case, yeah, because they shared the same cells. So Biollante was actually calling Godzilla.
Okay.
As far as the MonsterVerse, that was all because, Alpha versus Alpha.
Yeah.
You need to show who's the boss.
Right.
This was just, is this a relative of mine? I need to go check this out.
Got it.
And then they fight.
Of course.
Because there can be only one.
Correct. Yeah, there's that, and then that's also kind of the premise they use with the JoJo when the stands get introduced. They were like, there's that connection between us that draws us together, and inevitably we'll just fight. Not that there has to be one, but they're just drawn together. Sometimes they cooperate, sometimes they just, fight just between themselves for superiority.
Right.
But yeah, there's the calling or whatever. So that's why I was kind of like, is that why these, it's like Space or Mechagodzilla shows up. It's like, I just got to Earth. Where's Godzilla at? That's why I was like, or did they just be like, oh, this is a nice place. I think I'm just gonna kick some shit over and just kind of run around. Oh, look, it's Godzilla. So that's why I was kind of like, are they drawn to each other, or did they just start smashing stuff and then Godzilla shows up like, hey, stop smashing shit. Only I can do that.
Some of it seems like that.
Okay.
Where it's like the new monster shows up and kind of beats up Godzilla for a little bit, and then he's like, I'm going to get you. And then he just tracks him down until he beats him.
How dare you beat me up in my own movie? I'm the main character.
Like that kind of happened in Space Godzilla.
Nice.
The beginning of the first fight, Space Godzilla technically won, but then he trapped Godzilla's son, so he had to go and get Space Godzilla and get him out. So yeah.
How dare you make Godzilla bleed Godzilla's own blood.
Right?
So my next question then is, how then, if you have a lot more freedom when you make an anime than you would with a live action, because a live action you need to get actors, and back in the day it was even rubber suits, and then you needed, who knows how long they were recording, because those things were notoriously hard to move in and just sweat factories. You just,
Yeah, it'd be like 100 degrees in that suit.
Right.
When you're in a studio.
Yeah.
With all these lights on you.
Yeah.
It just adds to the heat.
Yeah. And then
I think they were only able to record for like a few minutes at a time.
Yeah. And then it's like, I didn't even take the camera lens, like, top off. Let's do that again. So,
also, you're fired.
Yeah.
No.
So that I would figure that doing an anime would give them more freedom. Like, you could experiment more, do more action, better music, better choreography, better storytelling. And you're telling me that they kind of were like, this kind of sucks. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, like I found it a little weird that so many people didn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the studios that worked on this were Bones and Studio Orange, which did the CG for Beastars.
Okay.
And I think they worked on something else as well, but they're pretty good with their CG. Because all the monsters were CG, and like some of the scenery whenever a lot of stuff was happening. But I thought the animation was really really good. I thought the story was good, which I usually, like I said, I don't think that a lot of the stories in Godzilla movies are that good. I usually just skip them and just go straight to the fight.
Right.
But I was entertained throughout the entire thing. The monster designs were interesting because they did do a lot of different designs for the monsters. Especially Angulus apparently having a power in this where he can kind of see into the future a bit. And can deflect, like, your weapons. Mm-hmm. And Godzilla was really cool. I thought Godzilla's design was awesome in that. But, yeah, I can kind of see how people could be a little disappointed by it, but I'm also like, it was still good. I do wish there was a longer fight between the Jaguar and Godzilla, but other than that, yeah, it was good. But yeah, a lot of people apparently weren't happy with it. Oh yeah, that's the rose form of Biollante.
Is this before or after?
Before she becomes that monster creature thing.
With the mouth pops out. Okay.
Yeah, and if you look closely in between the roses, you can see there's teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have... Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
They emphasize it a little more on that figure.
Again, I'm like, how did he win?
Well, Godzilla beat that one. It is the monster one that... Well, because of the bacteria they had, Godzilla couldn't continue the fight. But, Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of cool monsters in the Godzilla universe, but they usually only stick with the more popular ones. Like, I wish they'd used Biollante more, but they never did.
Probably too OP.
Probably. And the Smog Monster, I like the Smog Monster, but a lot of people find that movie weird. Then again, it's got a lot of trippy 70s stuff going on, kind of like you're on acid.
Yeah, I believe it.
A
lot of that going around in the 70s.
But that is one of my favorite movies, like from that era. And the only other time they used the Smog Monster was for Final Wars, and they were only in it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, because they had 15 monsters, I think, in that movie. Oh wow! But Godzilla was running through them like they were nothing. Yeah. Until they got to the final fight. But yeah, you'd see the monster for a couple minutes, and then Godzilla would kill them, and then move on.
Yeah, I was gonna say the lineup of Godzilla monsters reminds me of Batman and the Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they would kind of cross over into other DC characters, but for the most part they remained Batman villains. Yeah, and even to an extent too, you could say the same thing too. Is sometimes they have these multi-issue plots where they just really get Batman, and then sometimes it'll just be all haha, I'm the Riddler, I set the bump punch. And then he's all it's just a cover for whatever Two-Face's new scheme is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I got you. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you think the odds are of it getting season 2 then?
They set it up for season 2 because the end credit showed Mechagodzilla getting created.
Of course. Like you said, they just go back and on the old reliables.
Yeah. Kind of following the same formula as Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, which was from, I think, 2003 or 2004, where they used the bones from the original Godzilla to create the Mechagodzilla, which is what they're doing in this one. So yeah, they're kind of following that formula. Which, I mean, they kind of did with the Godzilla vs. Kong.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But with Ghidorah instead of
skull.
Godzilla.
Yeah. The skull gives us a psychic link. Sure.
Yeah, like I was wondering how people thought of that. Like all these people who are like, keep the sci-fi to a minimum, no aliens. Is like they just went all out with the Godzilla vs. Kong, and I didn't hear anybody really complain. So it's like, do you people know what you want? Like, what exactly do you want from a Godzilla?
If anything, the only complaint that I would have had was just the way that they, the kids kind of their way into defeating Mechagodzilla. That was kind of it. Just spilled my Jack Daniels on the keyboard.
Right.
It's his one weakness, alcohol. It's like, okay. Like I said, I'm definitely not on your level or a couple other guys that I know's level. But even I would have been like, just you can't punch him to death, I mean, there's two of you now, and again, Kong has Stormbringers, so it's like you guys can't like punch and hammer him to death.
Well, no.
Apparently not.
Because we saw them trying.
Yeah.
And another thing that I always find funny is a lot of people seem to think Godzilla is stupid. But Godzilla constantly shows that he has intelligence.
Right.
Especially in like Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yes, absolutely.
In their second fight, he constantly blasted at Kong.
Yeah.
Until he got hit with the axe. And then the next, I guess, round 3, technically, he just threw that out the window and just attacked him with his claws and his teeth and his tail.
Right.
Until he practically killed Kong.
Correct.
When they were fighting Mechagodzilla, he saw Kong had the axe and fired his breath at it to power it up so Kong could kill Mechagodzilla.
Correct.
People underestimate Godzilla's intelligence a lot.
Right.
It upsets me. It's like, do you not watch the movies? Godzilla's constant, like even in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla,
right.
There is another mechanical creature in the movie called Moguera,
okay.
Created by the Japanese Self-Defense Force to help fight against Godzilla,
okay.
But they end up using it to fight Space Godzilla. And Godzilla...
Dude, this just looks like it's going to get its ass kicked. This just looks bad.
Right.
So, like, what is it, a bird?
It's kind of designed like a bird, yeah.
Okay, I was like, this I'm assuming didn't go so well for Moguera.
He lasted a while,
okay,
actually.
Okay, that's good.
But that was because Godzilla was there.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, I'm not, just looking at the design, I was like, this just looks like it's asking to be punched in the face.
But in the movie, they actually show up to fight Mechagodzilla first. And
this looks cool.
They're kind of losing.
But this is more like Gundam Macross style, so... But yeah, okay.
And Godzilla shows up. And after a little while, they notice Godzilla's attacking Space Godzilla's spikes. Because Godzilla knows that that's how he gets his power. And they're like, Godzilla's like attacking his power source. And they're like, okay, he's not as stupid as we thought. Like, he actually has intelligence. He knows what he needs to do in order to defeat his enemies. All these people just think that Godzilla is some brute monster who goes in and just, like you said, punch him until he dies.
Yeah.
But no, Godzilla actually comes up with strategies to fight against his monsters.
I mean, even someone like me, who again casual to the max on this, even I will admit that it took intelligence for him to fire his atomic breath at the axe to power up the axe to smash in Mechagodzilla. I was like, of course, that's intelligence. He had to, Otherwise, again, yeah, he just would have been still punching him with no results.
Right.
But that he did notice that. It was a little bit of intelligence on his behalf. Yeah, absolutely. And people still doubt that?
Yeah, people still doubt
after
his
seeing
intelligence.
it.
Yes.
And that's not even some obscure movie from the 70s. That was like, came out this year, 2021, in the modern day.
Right.
With all the power of modern day computers and script and storytelling, which, yeah. But, you know what I'm saying. It's the modern day. It's not some foreign obscure thing that you needed to go dig or find a YouTube clip on the dark part of YouTube. It's like, no, you clearly saw him realizing this doesn't work, but if I can power up that axe, we can smash his face in, and oh wow, it worked.
Right.
So, and then he pieced out because he was like, okay, my job here is done.
Pretty much.
So.
He waited till Kong dropped the axe to be like, yeah, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go rest.
Yeah. So.
Until the next battle.
Yeah. Until our studios need more money.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. Toho said they were interested in doing more MonsterVerse movies.
Okay.
So hopefully they can come up with a new contract because they were only scheduled for like 3 Godzilla movies.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they come up with a new contract and we get more. And hopefully they'll bring in some of the other Toho monsters. Maybe not like maybe some of the more, I guess, B-side monsters.
Okay.
Like maybe Megalon or the Smog monster or oh god, what's it? Like, yeah, even Kumanga, the giant spider. I know I said insects, of course, blah blah blah, but Kumanga is a monster that Toho came up with that Godzilla did fight.
So what you just reminded me of is, again, and I know I hate when it always ends up going to this, right? But it's like kind of like the MCU thing, where we've officially got through like our big major characters, at least that we had the rights to, the Avengers. That's not Spider-Man, not X-Men, not Fantastic Four, right?
Right.
And now it's like, well, most of their, in real life, their contracts are expired, and in the movies storyline, some of them are killed or retired or pissed off to who knows where. So what are we left with? And then kind of the B-roll guys. We got Shang-Chi and then the Eternals, and it's like, well, we got to work with what we got. So that's what you reminded me of when you were like, I'd like to see some of the lesser knowns come in, because yeah, they were like, we got our heavy hitters, and it seems to be the formula. It's like, we need something. Ghidorah, Mothra, Mechagodzilla. It's like, even I know who they are.
Yeah.
And I'm like
I mean, Mechagodzilla has, I guess, 5 movies.
Yeah.
2 from the 70s, 1 from 93, and 2 from the 2000s. And then if you want to say 6 because of Kong, then yeah, you got 6. Mechagodzilla is used a lot. Because, I mean, I guess they figured this is the right direction to go because you got Godzilla and people want to destroy him, so what's the best option? Create a mechanical Godzilla.
Yeah, just make him a robot.
We can make him stronger, faster.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, it's the Iron Man.
But I don't want to spend a lot of money.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it is. It's kind of, the Terminator thing, make him a robot, make him a cyborg. It's just, it's a good, easy, no-brain solution, It is. It's what, nothing's cooler than, a robot.
Right.
It's just, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but yeah, people just love robots. They love mechs. And it's just an easy answer.
Yeah.
It is probably an easy payday, but like you said too, eventually you're gonna dry the well, because I do know that like a couple of guys were sour that Kong got the quote unquote kill on that. Yeah, when you're looking at the Call of Duty post game results, Godzilla may have gotten the assist, but Kong got the kill. So
I always look at it as Kong wouldn't have got the kill without Godzilla.
Absolutely.
Because if Godzilla wouldn't have powered the axe, Kong would have died.
Yes.
Even after the kids poured the whiskey on the computer. It only stopped him for like a second. You're like, ooh, okay. Yeah. What was that?
Yeah.
Okay, continue killing this monkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, even though Kong had the axe, he didn't really have much of an advantage. He was up against a building about to get his face drilled into and was going to die. I mean, Godzilla would have died too because he was super weak from 1, fighting Kong, 2, getting his butt kicked by Mechagodzilla for as long as Kong was nearly dead.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
took you forever, stupid monkey.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, people want to say, yeah, Kong got the victory, but it's like he had an assist from
Absolutely.
Godzilla as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's not like he did it on his own.
Right. And that was going to be my next question. Now I can even expand it into the context of a one-on-one fight. So clearly, I think we're on the same page as saying Kong on a one-on-one fight with Mecha would never win.
No.
Okay.
I don't know if Kong's axe can absorb the blast Mechagodzilla has. Because, I mean, I think the energy Godzilla has is basically the same energy that was from, like, the Hollow Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, they used the Hollow Earth energy to power Mechagodzilla, so... If, I guess, he absorbed the blast from Mechagodzilla, then maybe. But Mechagodzilla didn't really even care about using his blast against Kong and just decided, I'm just going to beat you to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
And practically did it.
Yeah. Truth.
It's basically the same with Godzilla. Godzilla did the same thing.
Yeah.
After he realized his blast wasn't working, he was like, all right, I'm just going to fight you.
Yeah. And I guess that, without going, I guess, into too spoiler deep territory, then how in standalone Godzilla movies did he end up beating Mechagodzilla? I might have asked you this before, I don't recall, but yeah, refresh my memory. You can just summarize too, but
well, again, usually he needs some help.
okay.
In the first one, it was King Cesar, like this giant dog-looking. What are they called? That Okinawan dog-looking creature, like a lion almost.
The Shiba Inu?
No, not a Shiba Inu. It's
What is it called? What's his name?
King Cesar, or the C. Yeah, that one.
It's King Caesar, but it's called King Cesar. Underrated kaiju appreciation. Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah.
I think really the only power he has is, well, he's fast, he's strong, and whenever Mechagodzilla would try to blast him, if he tried to blast him in the eyes, it would like reflect the blast back.
This is based off the statue.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, I don't know what.
I believe it's supposed to be Okinawan. At least in the movie, it was supposed to be Okinawan.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Guardian deity, ancient Japanese family. References. Inclusion in the film Godzilla Final Wars.
Yeah.
Incredibly agile martial artist.
Speed and super strength. Capable of absorbing energy beam attacks or energy projections and reflecting his energy back into the
Shisa.
eyes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Shisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Chinese Guardian. Yeah, because I remember these were like very prominent in like Dynasty Warriors and all that. You can see the lion statues.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah, there it is. Common in Okinawa. Yeah, it was supposed to be Okinawa.
Alright. Interesting.
So yeah, he helped in the first one. In the second one, Godzilla, I think, had Angulus. No, Angulus wasn't in that one. He was in the first one, but got his like jaw ripped out almost.
Jeez.
So I think Godzilla had magnetic powers in the second one.
Of course.
In the third one, Rodan helped. I'm not going to get into how, but Rodan was there.
Yeah.
In the third one, the fourth one, I think Godzilla won on his own.
Okay.
And in the fifth one, Mechagodzilla and Mothra teamed up against Godzilla. Yeah.
How did he survive that?
I don't think he really... I don't remember because I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
I just remember watching some of it and seeing Godzilla getting his butt kicked throughout 20 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this. I want to see Godzilla win. I don't want to see him get his butt kicked.
That's depressing. Yeah. So now that you put that kind of into context, I guess so that if he's always needed help or backup, then I guess that makes it a little bit more understandable that Godzilla needed help from Kong. Granted, to give Kong the kill, though, it's just still like,
yeah,
but okay.
But then again, from what I understand, the director was a Kong fan.
Okay.
But also realized that, yeah, Kong's not beating Godzilla, which is why Godzilla won the fight. But he had Kong get the victory against Mechagodzilla.
Got it. Okay. I learned a lot today.
Yeah, I love talking about Godzilla, so I'll talk about it forever. As long as you have questions.
No, I think it's all my questions are all related into context of what's going on or issues and all of that, and really understanding power difference, that's something that for me personally always happens in anime in general, and it's kind of like that was one of the things that, for instance, I always had about Fire Force when I was watching the anime. It was kind of like 1 minute Arthur is a moron, and the next he's the only one that can stand up to Kukumiya Rie's character. And I was all like, who's already pretty OP, she's pretty strong, but she's weak against him. And then, but then at the same time, Arthur's kind of a moron, but then he can even stop Shinra, the main character, sometimes. And it's kind of like, well, what is he? Is he strong or is he a moron? I can't figure it out. Or it's just depending on what's going on, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of like comics.
Yeah.
The Hulk can beat the Thing, but the Thing can also beat the Hulk, depending on who the writer is.
There you go, yeah.
Just depends on the situation, I guess.
Yeah.
We need Arthur to stop him, so have him stop him.
Yeah, pretty much. The rest of the time, though, it's not even a match.
Right.
But okay. But yeah.
So, should we get into Ragnarok then?
Yeah. So, closing thoughts then, right? You want to wrap it up?
Closing thoughts on Godzilla Singular Point.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a different take on like Godzilla, then I would definitely recommend it. Because, while the movie trilogy was a different take, I guess a lot of people found it kind of boring, especially with the science talk. This is at least engaging with the science talk, and they use like a cute little mascot character to kind of explain a lot of it. So,
Nice.
Yeah. Go check it out if you want a different take on Godzilla, which they've been doing a lot. Like a lot of these new things they're doing are like experimental and see what they can do, and I guess see what people like. But like I said, this seems like it's getting a second season, so hopefully it actually does. Because I guess they're expecting Godzilla to come back so they could use Mechagodzilla.
Of course.
So yeah, I would give it like an 8 out of 10 for me. An 8 out of 10.
That's solid.
So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and this was a Netflix project, correct?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
All right.
You can watch all the episodes there.
All right. And so they also put out clearly Record of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Which people I had been seeing the articles a couple months before they came out. People seemed really excited about it, and I was like, all right, I have no idea what this is. So I just I went basically blind. I never saw a trailer. I know I shared a couple of the articles on our Facebook page, but I never actually read them. I'm not gonna lie, because again, I was all like, I just don't want to be spoiled. And again, it also was convenient that I had so much stuff going on personally, so I just didn't have time on top of that.
Right.
So it was kind of like I'll figure it out when I watch the anime. For me, I took it as Fate Stay Night, the tournament arc.
Yes. With some servants that haven't been introduced yet.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. Yeah, I don't know. Why don't you give us your take, and then I'll go, because you actually started reading the manga and then you watched the show.
Yeah.
So you start, and then I'll go off what you're saying.
Okay, so at first, I wasn't even really interested in even reading or watching the series.
Mm-hmm.
What got my attention was everybody's complaints about the Adam versus Zeus fight.
Oh, okay.
That 10-second clip where they're kind of flipping the art around, where it looks like it's a slideshow, kind of.
Yeah.
And everybody's complaining, like, oh, how could they do this to the fight? This is horrible. They just made the whole thing a slideshow.
I had a feeling when you said in the Discord that people had a complaint about a fight, that it was going to be Adam versus Zeus. But I thought, honestly, the problem or the complaint was the outcome.
I'm going to tell you, I actually thought that that fight should have been last.
Yeah.
In the tournament.
I agree.
It's tied up. You get the big god Zeus,
yes,
who's like, what do they call him? Godfather of the cosmos.
Yes.
And then the first man,
the father of mankind.
Yeah. Adam duke it out.
Yeah.
As the final, like, who's going to win? Who's going to? Is
right.
humanity going to die, or is humanity going to survive? Kind of situation.
Right.
But they, I guess, did the unexpected and threw it in as the second fight.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot about the Zeus versus Adam fight before. One, because I saw the clip for the scene that everybody hated. And everybody talking about how great it is in the manga and this and that. And I'm like... I was like, okay, I based off of just this one clip, it does look pretty bad. Let me check out the manga and see what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And then I binged the manga in 2 days because I got so hooked on it. Yeah. And then I was like, because I remember you said you were going to watch it.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you, okay, well, you can tell me how it is.
Right.
But then I was like, no, I'm just going to watch the anime and see why everybody's so upset. Because the only clip I'd seen was that one clip. Mm-hmm. So I went and watched it. And I was like, there's only like 10 seconds. The way that everybody was complaining about it, they made it sound like they did that to the entire fight. Like, the whole Zeus versus Adam fight was that 10 seconds. And that's what they did to it. And I was like, everybody's just blowing this way out of proportion. As usual.
Yeah, I was about to say. Just like they did with House Husband.
Right. And I'm not going to lie. At first, I wasn't too big on the art style for House Husband. But you get used to it, and it just... After a while, you're like, I can't see this done any other way.
Right.
But as far as the anime goes, I liked it. I didn't really have much complaint about it. Like, sure, they had that 10 seconds, and even after watching the whole fight, mm-hmm. I was like, this isn't bad at all. Like, really. Like, I guess because people were so excited to see the fight done in animation and all that, it just let them down. And I had just started reading the manga, so...
Let down how? It was still good.
Right? Like...
I was like... and... I'll let you finish on the fight, because I'm ready to go off in terms of character and the story itself. But we're still talking about the fight, so let's finish talking about the fight itself.
Okay,
and the animation on it.
Okay, so... The animation, like a lot of... I don't know who did this series. Because, well, the animation, I guess, doesn't quite live up to the manga. I mean, what anime really does. I mean, the anime never really quite lives up to the manga as far as art and stuff. Graphinica? Is that a new
Graphinica
studio? Founded in 2009. Well, it's been around for a little bit.
But they haven't done anything. Hey, they did Tokyo Mew Mew.
Oh. They're doing the Legend of Mana anime.
This is also on Netflix, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
Not out yet, but
no, yeah,
it's
they just announced it. Yeah.
Oh, Love Alternative.
Oh, Junie Tyson. Okay. Really, Junie Tyson was great though.
So they did a few things.
Wow.
Zodiac War.
This I have saved on my watch list. This is another based on. It's a Sega mobile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they did Expelled from Paradise. I remember that movie from a few years ago. Anyway, they didn't do a bad job, I thought. As far as the art, the animation, I thought it was really good.
They did the Wonder Momo reboot.
Yeah, they did Hellsing Ultimate.
Yeah, well, so they've done stuff. They're not new.
Yeah. I did hear something about, I don't know how true this is because it was just a comment on Twitter. And, you can't really trust them too much unless they give, like, a source. Mm-hmm. And they didn't. Was that apparently they only had 2 months to do this anime. And I'm like, that doesn't seem possible.
Yeah.
It's like I don't care how much you chain your animators to their desks, which I know a lot of these studios do.
Correct.
They're not going to get done in 2 months.
Correct.
I don't know. The fight for me, like I said, I've read the manga. They're already on fight 6, and Adam versus Zeus is still one of my favorites. Mainly, what I like about the series, and it does it with every fight, is they give you like the backstory and everything during the fight.
Right.
Because I mean, it's a tournament thing, so they can't really just give you a backstory to a character then go into the fight. They got to do it during the battle, which actually has made me like characters that I didn't think I would like Shiva. I didn't like Shiva at first, but after watching reading his fight and his backstory and everything, I like Shiva now. But it's interesting to see how they portrayed Adam.
Yes.
Because going by the lore of this story, it's still like the Greek, Norse, Egyptian, like all these different gods. Also, yeah, Jesus does make an appearance.
Good.
They have not said anything about actual, like, Christian, Catholic God.
Right.
So I don't know if that's technically Zeus.
That's what I was thinking too. I was all like, when he first showed up, I was like, this is supposed to be God? But then they're like, oh no, it's Zeus. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that, because I guess Adam was just created by the gods in this, and not God. So it was interesting that they gave him that ability. Was it the divine reflection or whatever?
Divine, created in the image of God.
Yeah, where he can just mimic and copy any ability that the gods have.
Yes.
Man. They made Adam super OP.
Yeah, exactly.
But made Zeus also OP.
Yeah.
In his durability.
That's what I was saying, is that in terms of the story and the background, and that's what really stood out to me in with the character Adam, that they reiterated him being a father, and that instantly made me like go all Matthew McConaughey chest bump, Wolf of Wall Street, because that is another meme with Western media. Notice how I always come back to Western media. Shitty fathers is a big like contention point, because it's always got to be like in modern day media, fathers always got to be shitheads.
Right.
And it's like, we know divorce rates all in the world now are basically at 50%. So getting married now is basically a crapshoot. You have better odds of getting divorced than you would winning the slot machines in Vegas.
Right.
So when you finally have a character who is all like, his kids love him, he's loyal to his wife loves him, he literally gives the gods, the people that made him, the middle finger, and is all like, nah, I'm good. And then he's still like, not only am I going to do this for my kids, I'm going to do this for like everyone else, regardless of creed, race, whatever is in between your legs. He's like, nah, I'm going to do it for you. No strings attached. You don't need to give me nothing. And I'm like, if that ain't a powerful ass character right there.
Yes.
Like, where is the storytelling, man? Come on. Where is this level of storytelling? And you know, don't get me wrong, the show is dumb. The show is good, dumb fun. And exactly. I can't put it any better than it's dumb fun. But when Adam did that, I was like, motherfucker. And you know, I couldn't have put it better, because it was a take. You know, I'm Catholic, at least I'm not a practicing Catholic, but I was raised Catholic, baptized, Holy Communion, all of that.
Same thing, yeah.
And so, of course, you know, Adam and Eve at the Garden of Eden and all that has just been drilled into you. So you get that. Original sin, you get that. But when they said that, oh, you know, they had original sin, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. And he's just like, all right, peace out then. I'm gonna stay here and take it. I'm gonna go. And then you saw, their depiction of Cain and Abel, and they're all just like, Papa!
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the weebiest way ever to portray Cain and Abel. Is it wrong if I wanted to waifu Eve?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Total wife.
But she's your mom.
Yeah. Wincest. Would it be considered NTR? But anyways, yeah, that's what it was, and I was, and I'm not gonna lie, I really was just punch that old man. Go Kratos on his ass. Come on, do it, and yeah. So it's like, alas, but yeah. I mean, again, that's something that I haven't really been invested in a long time. Like, and when Boku Hero did its tournament arc, for instance, I didn't really care.
Right.
I was just like, it's a thing. This is going on. Yeah, okay. When Naruto did like its tournament arcs, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Etc., etc., etc. And it was like, yeah. When Demon Slayer did its, well, it wasn't really a tournament arc, but it was kind of like the training arc in the forest. It was kind of like, oh, well, it sucks. Those kids got eaten.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it was like that. But yeah, Adam really made an impression on it. And so, yeah, now it's just like, okay, yeah, now I'm invested. Let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah, Adam. It's like he was kind of he was just like your typical OP character until Zeus asks him, why are you even in this tournament? Because I don't sense. Because they keep mentioning he hates the gods. He wants revenge for kicking them out of paradise. And he asks, Zeus asks him, I don't sense hate coming from you. What is it that why are you even here? Like, why are you in this tournament? What are you fighting for? And he's like, I don't need any of that. I'm just here. He's like, what was it? What kind of father wouldn't fight for his children?
Correct.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. And you get the context. It's like the father of humanity versus the father of the gods,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. I get the reference. And I'm like, it works. He would be the guy. And again, it was all like, did he really do anything that deserves to be thrown out? I was like, not really, but he'll take it because he's a man. Which apparently in storytelling is a terrible thing to do. You can't have men be men, let alone be good fathers. They always got to be the scumbags, and it's like, okay. But here, again, anime does it. Anime's just like, you know what, nah, we're good. We'll show him being a man. We'll show him standing up for what's right. And I was like, all right. Yeah. And they're all laughing at him too. They're like, "You really gonna come at Zeus with some brass knuckles?" He's all like, "Yeah."
And then he wasn't even hitting Zeus with the brass knuckles.
Yeah.
He was hitting him with the other hand.
Yeah.
And still hurting him, which they said he wouldn't be able to do because he was human.
Yeah. Yeah. That was. Yeah. it was good. It was good. It was I can see why Adam was very popular. And again, yeah, we'll go there now. So in terms of the bigger issue now with Netflix thing, their adaptions I'm starting to see, even when I kind of look at the screen caps for High Rise Invasion, I'm noticing that Netflix is an American-based company where profits matter. Yeah. Where they can cut corners, in this case the animation, it seems they're going to take it.
Yeah.
Which is sad. It really is sad because I think of what they did with Daredevil and Punisher, and it was the investment they made with the Daredevil in the hall room scene, which was a remake of Old Boy's hall room fight scene.
Okay.
And it's when they want to, they can make it happen. And they could, in that case, I want to say that the first season didn't have particularly a high budget. It was decently paid for, but it still was very kind of shooting in back alleys in the middle of the night and all of that.
They weren't sure how it would do, so we're going to give you some money to do it, but we got to see how the first season does. Yeah,
exactly. It wasn't a super high. It wasn't on the level of an MCU movie or anything like that.
Right.
But it worked. And so I kind of see that going on now in their anime, and it's just kind of like, but once in a while, it does work in the larger context, I should say, of House Husband. It worked, and I said that too. It was like, remember, like when you're watching Ragnarok, and it does when like they do like a really like impactful scene. It's like a freeze frame, and then they kind of like monologue over it, you know. And it's kind of like that's the same concept that they were doing with Household Husband. It was like a freeze frame, and they talk over it. I was like, it's anime. It is a cost cutting technique, but no one's had a complaint before. It's been anime, and the episodes were short anyways. So it was kind of like, okay, then I don't see what's the problem here,
right?
So I just, like I said, I was like, if this is your first anime or something, it was like, you know. But anyways, yeah. So, but in the grand scheme of this, yeah, it's clearly a profits over quality kind of an issue here, and it is kind of like, but because everything else that surrounds it, like the voice acting, the storytelling, the action, it does such a good job. I'm able to get over it.
Right.
Like I said, since I probably started doing this podcast with you, a couple months in is when I guess it was the One Punch Man season 2 thing.
Right,
is that when I started noticing things like animation quality? Because before that, I was like, I didn't even care, you know. But now people will go in there, and also kind of like what you said too about people complaining about Godzilla, is they'll go in and they'll find like Aphrodite in the audience, or a little like thing like this big, as big as your thumbnail, and they'll be like, look how shitty she looks, and it's like, dude, she's like in the background. Who would care? Who is noticing these things? Are you CinemaSins? You just gotta go and like minute, like pick out the little things. It's like, wow, look how shitty this animation is. It's like, but everything in front looks fine. Everything in the foreground where the action's actually happening is perfectly fine. What are you complaining about? So,
exactly.
That's why it's kind of like a pick and choose your battle thing, you know.
Or even if it is like a close up, it's like an in between frame.
Right.
Like, they just kind of, we do it really quick because it's going fast.
Right.
But they'll pause it and be like, look at this.
Yep, we call that the DBZ, the blur.
Right.
So, which they did do a couple of times. So, actually, I think all 3 fights had blurs.
Probably. I don't know what their budget was, so
yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it if they said, you know, just use blurs if you need to.
Right.
But it didn't detract from the fights, really.
Not at all.
The fights were still entertaining and fun. And
Correct.
Even like now, because like I said, they had 6 fights so far in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, it's like kind of keeps you guessing as who's going to win.
Right.
Like you can guess. Like I thought Adam was going to win.
Same.
But I was also like, it's too early to kill Zeus.
I knew that too, but I still thought they were going to go there. I still thought they were going to go there.
Yeah.
And now upon retrospect, I was like, they should have gone there.
like they totally got me in the manga because I was like, wait, he's going to fight Zeus?
Yeah.
Okay, Zeus is winning.
Yeah.
Then they did the whole divine reflection thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Adam has a chance. Maybe he will win. And then he lost. And I was like,
Yeah.
It was,
killing me, Smalls.
Right?
Killing me, Smalls.
Whoever does this, like the author, has done a very good job of keeping you guessing about who is actually going to win.
I will admit, when the very first one with Thor and Lubu, I was just kind of like, no. And this is something that I was dying to bring up when I was like, oh, I'm talking about this. So Lubu, if I was to, and I've said this before, but you know, my years of Dynasty Warriors, because I love Dynasty Warriors, right?
Right.
And as a result, I actually read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So there's also 2 interpretations. There's the historical context, which is what Fate uses. The Nasuverse uses the historical context. I read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the novelization version of it.
Okay.
So things were definitely different. And so Lubu, the way Lubu was portrayed, was essentially he was Chinese Brock Lesnar. Okay. He was 6'3" and just pure muscle, but the man had like freak speed. Like if you've seen Brock Lesnar in UFC, he just moves. He's just like he closes the gap, and you don't even see him coming.
Yeah.
And it's like he's just like super like muscles on top, and he's got kind of like chicken legs basically. He's got some meat on his legs because he's got that sprint. But he was literally like Chinese Brock Lesnar. Now he's got a horse that at least in the novelization, they said that red hair could go basically 300 miles without, basically getting winded, which essentially is a one-way trip between us here in the Bay Area to LA. So he can run from the Bay Area to LA, and then he might be tired. Maybe. And so Lu Bu also, like I said, is basically Brock Lesnar. Now imagine he's in like full-on plate armor, and helmet. And you remember in Disney's Mulan, or the captain's father, Captain Shang's father, he has the helmet, and then he's got kind of like that, almost the Roman tassel coming out, or the butterfly, the moth antenna. That's the symbol of a general. And so Lu Bu had those as well. That's why he's flying general, because he was in charge of the cavalry. Okay. So he was in charge of the back though. But that was kind of irrelevant, because this asshole would be in the back, and then he would just run up to the front and just start swinging the halberd and just knocking fools out. So, and that's why he also had, when you see spears, usually you're just used to spears and all that. But he had the halberd, and the halberd is used from horseback. So when you're riding, you swing it downward, and then if you get caught in the chest, you're wrecked. And then you can swing it down, or you can swing it across, or you can stab from the front. So it was a very unique weapon, and his was also double-sided. So, and you also kind of saw it too in High School. Remember when she called Lu Bu? Yeah. So that's what he was. So he's a bulk of a man. He's Brock Lesnar, Chinese Brock Lesnar, on one of the most OP horses, and he's got the strength to just swing and bodies dropped. So that was all true. It was also true about him. He was, at least in the book, they did say he was dragged away kicking and screaming because he didn't understand why people were hating on him. And what they actually ignored here in Ragnarok is it was because of a woman.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was because of Diao Chan, who they've now, in the more recent games, they've made her like the tragic heroine because she's like, I must betray Lu Bu for the sake of the country. Because she was basically put up to it as she went and seduced Lu Bu, but then she seduced Dong Zhuo, who was the one who adopted Lu Bu and made him like basically in charge of the cavalry and all of that. And then she got in between them, and she was the one who basically went up to Lu Bu and it was just like, oh, Dong Zhuo assaulted me, and he's like, what? And then he just goes in there and is just like, he's like, what up, son? How you? You stabbed me. That's basically what happened. And so then when they like all the advisors, and he does this in the castle or at least in the palace or whatever, and all the advisors and all the other generals, they come up and like, what the fuck you do? He's all like, it was assault, #MeToo, right? Time's up, #. And they're like, you asshole! And so then they chased him out, and he's running away like, why are you mad, bro? Why are you mad? And he ran, so he took Diao Chan and he got chased out, basically. And he's all like, I thought I did a good thing, believe all women, right? And they're like, no, Dong Zhuo was the reason, why we were over there, because it was like, Dong Zhuo effectively had the royal family of China at the time under his control. Yeah. And it was like, if you're going to stand up to him, if you're going to stand up to Dong Zhuo and his fat ass, he's going to just dispatch Lu Bu, and Lu Bu's going to run roughshod over you. Right. So, yeah, that's how Dong Zhuo was able to maintain power. So, and that's also the charisma that Lu Bu had, but I forgot his name, I apologize, but basically the one dude, he saw Diao Chan singing in the garden, and he's just like, you want to overthrow the kingdom? And she says like, yeah, sure, I got nothing else better to do. And then that's what she did. She got in between them and got, Lu Bu to kill Dong Zhuo, got chased out, and then Lu Bu actually ran to Liu Bei, and he was all like, your name is Liu, my name is Lu, we're basically like third cousins. And Zhang Fei, the guy drinking the wine, he was all like, bruh, if you fucking do this, they're gonna come after us. This guy is a pain in the ass, and he's got a kill list like the size of War and Peace. They were like, they're gonna, and we're the smallest kingdom, where people are just now recognizing us. If we give shelter to Lu Bu, they're gonna come for us. And he's just like, yeah, man, but he's my cuz. like three times removed, you know? He's like, cuz. And so then, there are, Liu Bei is the other guy, by the way. The other guy that was on Guan Yu. Yeah. So that was them. That was the three brothers, sworn brothers. So it's Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei. Sidetrack. That's why they said Zhang Fei told Guan Yu, he's like, what are you doing here with us humans? He's like, you should be over there. You're the god of war, the Chinese god of war. And he's just like, yeah, I know, but what did he say? Like, I can't abandon my human side, or I can't abandon my humanity? Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. I know that, like, here in downtown, there's a Chinese restaurant right next to the Domino's here in where we live.
Yeah.
If you go inside and look to the right of their counter, they actually have a Guan Yu statue.
Oh.
So, because he's also represented with, like, business and good fortune. But yeah.
Okay.
So he is effectively the god of war. So that's why they said that. They were like, you're the god of war. What are you doing here with us, you know? But yeah. So Zhang Fei and Liu Bei are arguing, like, you know, kick him out. I'm not kicking him out. Kick him out. And Lu Bu goes up, bros. He's like, I'll tell you what. I get it. I'm hella controversial, right? So there's an apple there, or peach or whatever there on the tree, right? And they're like, yeah. And it was like 150 yards away or something, right? And he's all like, okay, check this out. I got this bow and this arrow. If I can hit that peach off that tree, then y'all gotta stop fighting and let me stay. And if I miss, I'll just peace out. And this will be like never happened. So Zhang Fei's all like, you'll never hit that. So Lu Bu pulls back the thing, boom, hits it. And Zhang Fei's like, fuck. And so then Zhang Fei pisses off and just starts drinking like he was doing in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Because he was notorious for being a drunk. And being an asshole when he was drunk.
Right.
And, yeah, so then Liu Bei and Liu Bei are like, yeah, brother, yeah, cousin, ah ha ha. And Liu Bei's like, yeah, I'm cool with Lu Bu. Yay, nothing bad could ever happen. And so then Zhang Fei is just getting drunk, like, this guy's going to just end us. This is not going to go good. And then Liu Bei was summoned effectively. Shit was going on, like, at the border of the kingdom and all that. So he's like, all right, check it. I got to peace out. I'm going to go handle this. Now, y'all play nice. And Zhang Fei's like, whatever. And so then Lu Bu is just kind of like, ah ha ha, no one wants to kill me. I'm the savior of the kingdom. And then Zhang Fei's he gets up in his face. And he's just like drunk. And he's just all like, you're a dickhead. You're going to ruin everything. I hate you. Go die. And Lu Bu's like, cool. And then he just wouldn't stop. He would keep pestering him.
Yeah.
And then eventually Lu Bu's all like, you know what? I'm fucking kill you. And then he chases Zhang Fei out. And then effectively takes over the castle. He takes over Liu Bei's castle.
Wow.
And so, with no choice left, Zhang Fei runs to Liu Bei and he's just like, bruh, Lu Bu just went crazy and totally kicked me out of the castle. He just took over everything. He's gonna go crazy, man. And Liu Bei's like, oh my god. So then, Liu Bei and Zhang Fei go to Cao, that was the guy that executed Lu Bu.
No.
That is true. They go to Cao, who at the time was the one that they were all afraid of was going to be the next, which eventually his clan did. But they were like, he's the most influential. Even though Wu was still coming together under Sun Ce, he was still kind of piecing things together. They knew that Cao was the one who had basically the most experience, the most soldiers, the most capable advisors, all the resources. So they knew that, you know, they were going to do it. And they said, hey, can we form an alliance with you because we got Liu Bei in my castle, and he's a dickhead, and we want to get rid of him, but we can't do it by ourselves. And Cao's all like, only if I get the kill. And they were like, fine, you can have the kill. So cool. So they assaulted the castle together. So Wei and Shu basically came together to take out Liu Bei. Now, what I can't recall is that I swear I read it in my version of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but it said that when Lu Bu was looking to escape through the river, because they eventually got him out by flooding the castle. They dammed up the river and they flooded the castle.
Right.
And it was basically just covered, you know, it was like, just smelled awful. They were suffering from gangrene and all of that from the river flooding the castle. That's what drove Lu Bu out. And so one of the versions, I swear, when they were looking to go escape through the river, they couldn't do that because they had contacted Sun Ce, and Sun Ce's boats were in the river, blocking an escape. And I could never find that. I was like, maybe it was the Bernstein Bears effect. That I thought I read it, but it didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
But Sunsei also wasn't going to help out Lubu, sorry, because it was under the campaign to get rid of Dong Zhuo that his father got killed.
Right.
So Sunsei was not a fan of Lubu's either. And they basically, the moral of the story was all three kingdoms came together to get rid of Lubu. That's how much of a threat he was. So when things like God of High School or when Brynhild is like, he's the biggest badass of all human history, it's like, sure. Okay. Yeah. And so then eventually they did get into the castle. They did manage to subdue him because he had been drinking this whole time.
Yeah.
He had just gotten all depressed. He was like, I thought I did the right thing. I believed all women. I murdered the assaulter. He just happened to be my stepfather who was usurped the throne. But I thought that doesn't matter because he was an assaulter. And nobody likes me. Why does nobody like me? You know, I'm a good guy. Why does nobody like me? And he's just getting drunk. And they're all telling him, it's like, bro, they're outside. He's like, fuck off, I'm getting drunk. Why does nobody like me? He's like, bro, they're tearing down the walls. I don't care. So that's also why when they finally caught him, he was not in any shape to put up a fight. Because he was just depressed and drunk. So they were able to capture him, subdue him. And yeah, that's what they did say was that he was pleading to Cao Cao. Because he's all like, I tried to make good with my cousin. He betrayed me. And I'll work for you. Just put me under your guard. I'll work for you. And Cao Cao ultimately said, he's all like, you're probably the most powerful motherfucker among us. You're a threat no matter where you're at. But you've betrayed he's had 2 stepfathers. He betrayed both of them. And then look what he did to Liu Bei. He's all like, you know what? As good of an offer as that is, I'm not going to do it. So, and then he executed him. So, he went up to his advisor, that's not Chen Gong. He went up to Zhang Liang, and he said, well, what do you want to do? I just killed your boss. And he's all like, well, you just killed my boss. I have nothing else left to live for, so just go ahead and kill me too. And Cao Cao was all like, how would you like a job? So he's all like, because he was like, I'm so impressed with your loyalty. He's all like, you're the kind of guy that I want to live for me. And then Zhang Liang went on to become one of the pillars of the 5 pillars of Wei, the 5 main generals.
Right.
And he did actually save Cao Cao from an assault by Wu by jumping over a bridge they had destroyed and rescuing and fighting back everybody so Cao Cao can escape. So that paid off for him in the long run. But yeah, Lu Bu's advisor Zhang Liang was like, yeah, just end me. And he was like, nah, you can come work for me. Reminded me of Scarface, when they shot the dude in the at the car dealership, and then he's just like, hey, what did he do with him? So like, hey, you want a job?
Okay.
Yeah, Tony, I go on a job. Okay, call me tomorrow morning. I'm gonna get your job. Hey man, you got a job. It's like, it's kind of, it's basically what it reminded me of. It's like, hey Tony, yeah, thanks. And he drinks. Yeah, that's basically what it reminded me of. But yeah, that's basically it. That's essentially the story of Lu Bu in a nutshell. So,
in a nutshell?
Yeah, in a nutshell. I just saved you 10 Dynasty Warriors games.
Oh,
okay. And apparently the movie's on Netflix too, huh? Which I do want to watch. We were talking about it at the barbecue though, and they were kind of saying, "Oh, it sucks," and I was like, "Well, I know it sucks, but still, it's the fact they're going off the video games, and I think that's where they stopped. They stopped after Dong Zhuo and Lu Bu, because there's a whole other thing that goes on. But that's when you start to get into Zhuge Liang and Sima Yi, Waver and Reynaz, basically from Fate. Yeah. But yeah. So you can kind of see why people, like, in anime particularly always worship and glorify. That's also like when you watch Ikitosen, even all the merch based off Kanu, it's like, holy damn. Well, I'm sorry, that's Guan Yu, sorry. But the other one, Ryofu, she's the one, green hair. She's another very popular one.
Yeah.
But yeah, her.
Yeah.
It sucks that the studio went out of business. But that's what I'm saying, man. I loved it. I loved the take on it. And it was because I was in my Dynasty Warriors phase, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's gender bent Dynasty Warriors." I was like, I was like, sold. And they're like, "Oh my god, this show's stupid. It's all panty shots." And I was like, "Yeah, it's great." So I was like, but it's also kind of weird too, because again, there's the three names. There's three different interpretations, because there's like the Chinese name, then there's the English name, and then there's the Japanese interpretation of the Chinese name, and it's just kind of like, okay. So, but yeah, she was pretty strong too. So, yeah. But in terms of all of that, so then there's that. That's Lubu, and then in Warriors Orochi, Koei Tecmo basically just were like, we were running out of ideas, so they took everyone from Sengoku era, so Sakaki Kochiro, and then they took everyone from Dynasty Warriors, and they just threw them together and said, we're just going to merge all the worlds because Orochi came and distorted time and space, and now, yeah, and he's in Orochi's efforts to, kill or be the strongest among all the warriors, and it was a really dumb concept that was really fun. It really is really fun. But basically, it was just a way for Koei Tecmo to just merge together the two franchises. And it was kind of like almost a Marvel vs. Capcom concept. And the first game was great because all the kingdoms actually had their own unique storylines about what happened. But it was also a way to unlock different characters and all that. So there was Wei, Shu, Wei, and then Samurai Warriors. And it started with like Nobunaga has just disappeared, but it's actually because he was up in the mountains planning his counterattack.
Right.
It was really good. It was really fun. But in that one, they made 3 games. And in Warriors Orochi 3, they introduced... they just kept adding in more and more franchises. And so by Warriors Orochi 3, they said, fuck it. We're putting all of our Tecmo Koei franchises into Warriors Orochi 3. So that's why they had Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden... Blade Storm, which was the French War, the 100 Years' War with Jeanne d'Arc. Wow. They had Troy, so Achilles was in there. From their Troy Muso game, you can play as Agamemnon, because I know that's what you want.
Yeah.
But in that one, I remember somebody made a YouTube comment once where they were like, I think that it would be a long and hard, bloody battle. But I think that Hayabusa would lose to Lubu. Or Lubu would beat Hayabusa. The Ninja Gaiden. And I was like, that Hayabusa fires like goddamn dragons out of his arm, right? And then it's like, so I'm watching this, and he's fighting Thor and all that. And I'm like, no! So I'm like, as much as and it was like, Lubu's not really my favorite. My favorite is still Sunsei. That's my boy from Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Right. But I have a respect for what Lubu did, because it takes a large set of balls to be able to put in the country like China, as big as China was, on blast. Like, if you act up, we're going to send Lubu. And they were like, fuck, alright. And then they calmed down. So, so like when you can just mention that they're just going to unleash Lubu on you and you shut up, that's power.
Yeah.
So, but... the Ninja Gaiden, man. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win. That's why it was a good effort against Thor, but Thor, who looks like Fate's version of Tristan.
Right. Thor's known for having blonde hair.
Right.
People.
that didn't make me raise an eyebrow. I was like, okay.
From what I understand, the Thor and Lubu fight is one of the least favorite. But it was the first fight, so right, I mean. Right. You're just kind of getting into what tournaments are going to be like. Yeah. I immediately knew. I was like, he's not winning this. I can't see how Thor is going to lose to Lubu. Still mortal. I'm sorry. He's great. He's a freak of nature. Absolutely. At one point, I thought he was actually mentally disabled. Because I was like, when I was reading the story, the way that they made it sound out to be was it didn't sound like he had all his faculties in the mind, and that's why he fell for like so much manipulation. It was just kind of like he was simple Jack. Yeah.
And I was like, and that's also explains why he has such good like physical fortitude. Like he just wasn't there, you know.
Right.
But they just kept throwing women and wine and gifts and horses at him and all that. But he just, you know, also another side effect of that is they're physically strong. It's just that focus that they have, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't prove that, so I just kind of let that. That's my conspiracy theory. But Fate also said too, in Fate Extra, when you look at his profile, he could have actually been any 6 of the job classes except like caster. Because he was adept at martial arts, archery, so they were like he could be saber, archer, lancer, rider, assassin, considering what he did, and then berserker. So he could have been all of those. And really, if you go off Dynasty Warrior 6, when he's shooting laser beams, he could have been a caster too. But yeah.
So why did he choose berserker?
Because it was just that wasn't his choice. That was just the way he was summoned. What they're saying is he qualifies to be any of those 6.
Okay.
So, yeah.
He just happened to be summoned as a berserker.
Correct.
Okay.
And in Fate, even after everything he went through, his wish, if he won the Holy Grail, was to be reunited with Diao Chan. And I was like, simp! Simp! Simp alert! Simp! It's like the chick that betrayed you? Alright. Alright. But yeah. Yeah, so I when I saw that, and I was like, it's great. Like I said, I respect Lu Bu. He did a lot, but no, no. And then Thor, I was like, Thor is voiced by Hikaru Midorikawa. That's my boy. That's my boy. And it also triggered me too that they were like, oh, Hikaru Midorikawa is gonna be at Virtual Fanime, and I was like, Virtual Fanime can kiss my ass in real life. Fucking. Oh, what a disgrace! What a just a mess. But yeah, and then Poseidon voiced by Sakurai. I was like, I knew that's Sakurai. I was like, whenever it's a knight type pretty boy, it's kind of a douchebag or arrogant. They can either be good or they can be bad. It doesn't really matter. It's one of those two. It's always gonna be one of those two. That's just their typecast. It's always gonna be either Hikaru Midorikawa or it's gonna be Sakurai. And in this case, they were both. So, but yeah, as soon as I heard him talk, I was like, that's Sakurai. God damn it, Preto Arthur. But
So what do you think of that fight?
I thought it was an interesting take. I thought it was definitely an interesting take. That actually reminds me a lot of the Fate aspect, and what I actually respect about Ragnarok more than the Fate thing is that even though they effectively gave these guys noble phantasms to compete with the god things, and the gods have their own versions of it too, it doesn't seem over the top. Like, it's not basically Kama becoming the entire universe just to, like, kill, like, some little doggo. You know? So, it's very restrained. You know, like, when you see Adam's, like, ability, which makes sense in the context of his character created in God's image, so he can use techniques that the gods had. That's actually very straightforward as well.
Right.
It's very straightforward. But Ragnarok and Fate also do this thing where they have, like, a concept, and then they just kind of expand on that concept. Like, I keep going, I know that Nikola Tesla is coming in there, because I saw people laughing about that in comments.
Right.
And I also saw it, too, when they were talking about all the people coming out. But when they said, like, Jack the Ripper, right? Fate's version of Jack the Ripper, even though they were like, oh, yeah, it's based off the London mass murder and all that, that's why it's an assassin class, right? But then, when you look at why is Jack a lowly, they were like, it's the interpretation of all the children died in stillbirth, or all the children that got lost. You know, miscarriage, kidnappings, children that had just vanished, you know, all of that, that's why Jack is a lowly.
Yeah.
So it's basically the murder of the innocence of children. And that's why it was a concept around Jack the Ripper being a notorious killer, but then they enhanced it by saying, oh, she represents, you know, all the dead children. And I see that again, going back to the Adam thing, that's why they were like, oh, Adam represents really the first father of humanity. It's like, well, they ain't wrong. So, and then Lu Bu too. That's why the three brothers, the sworn brothers, Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhuge Liang, they were like, you know, even Guan Yu, they were like, dude, your exploits were pretty legit too. You should be up there. And he's all like, yeah, but when you think about everything that people have done, it makes the most sense for Lu Bu to have been over there. So when they were doing the campaign to fight to get rid of Dong Zhuo, they couldn't get past Si Shuao Gate. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. And there was an asshole there that was just the gatekeeper, and he was trashing people left and right, and he's just like, "Oh, no one can beat me, I'm the shit." And so then they're at camp, and they're all like, "Oh man, how are we ever go? We can't take out Dong Zhuo if we can't get past Hulao Gate." And Guan Yu's just like, he's like, "Tell you what, put some sake on the fire. I'm gonna be right back." And so they were like, "All right." So they put some sake on the fire. He goes out, grabs the jade spear, goes out there, comes back later that night with motherfucker's head, and his sake was still warm. That's a Guan Yu story. That's why they were saying, Guan Yu, you were also kind of the shit too. And Guan Yu was also very influential. They feared Guan Yu almost as much as they feared Lu Bu. But yeah, it makes more sense though, because when you see all the things again, Guan Yu though didn't make the whole country tremble. You know, when they said we're going to unleash Lu Bu, then everyone's like fuck. And that's why Dong Zhuo was even able to stay in power. And so that's why they knew that as long as Dong Zhuo and Lu Bu worked together, there's going to be no change.
Right.
So they severed that tie thanks to Diao Chan's interference, and then that's how they were able to get rid of Dong Zhuo, and then they got rid of Lu Bu, and then the whole Three Kingdoms era blew up because you had Shu, Wei, and Wu. So, but yeah, I get that, and so that makes sense too. And they also said too, when they killed Lu Bu, they actually Cao Cao, because Guan Yu was working with Cao Cao at the time, because it was a way to protect Liu Bei, because Cao Cao said to Guan Yu, as long as you're working for me, I won't attack you guys over there in Shu. And Guan Yu's like, fine. And once that happened though, he was reunited with Liu Bei and Zhang Fei, so Guan Yu actually got red hair and then reunited with Shu, and they all were able to get back to Shu together with red hair. So Guan Yu actually inherited red hair. Right. So that's why he had a brief moment too in Ragnarok where he said that, where he's like, "Oh, I know how powerful that horse is." Right. So he had it. He had it after Lu Bu died. Guan Yu had red hair until he died. And yeah. And then in terms of the Poseidon fight, I mean, yeah, that was what I was gonna say. That's the concept too, about how fate will take a concept. Same thing with like Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison is a representation of like America's presidents and then America's like innovation. Right. That's why his Noble Phantasm is the 20th Century Fox logo. Please don't copyright that. That was the same thing I felt with Kojiro. How Kojiro was like the Japanese swordsman, the mentality of the warrior, the samurai, and all of that. And I was like, that's such a fate thing to do that it works. So, by the way, that is the name of his Noble Phantasm in Fate, is the Tsubame whatever thing. But yeah, cutting the swallow in midair. Yeah. And so I get it. I also do want to point out that this is still an anime because the first person that scored a win was the Japanese guy. Just saying. Yeah, the Japanese will always be the saviors in their own works. But no, it worked. It worked really well. I figure that you would probably be a Hearst guy. That's your waifu. Hearst? Yeah.
Okay, which one was that one?
That was the Kochiro's katana.
Oh. Yeah, she was cool.
dual personality. Hearst. Yeah, Hearst.
Yeah, okay.
Dual personality. Yeah, it's so I respected that too, and it also seemed like their way of being edgy and cool was because they could have just given it to Musashi, everyone said. They were like, he wrote the book on swordsmanship, which we all know is about to be Grand Saber in a minute, so let's not kid ourselves. So apparently they hinted that at the most recent story too. They were like, yeah, it seems like Musashi might not be dead after all, and it's like, you don't say. Bitch never dies. So but yeah,
I mean, you can't kill Musashi.
No, not at all.
From what I understand, they like her too much.
Yeah.
So, were you able to read the list of the fighters?
Briefly. I saw that, Who was on there? That's the guy. Oh, I saw that Qin Shi Huang was on there. I was like, Mothman.
Yes.
But was he on the human side or on the god side? He's on the human side, I'm assuming.
Side.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Because I got the list right here.
Okay.
If you want to know the fighters.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got heaven. That's what it says on the manga. Zeus, Buddha, Loki, Apollo, Poseidon, Susanoo no Mikoto,
Oh, okay.
Thor, Bishamonten, Anubis, Odin, Beelzebub, Shiva. They left Hercules off of here, but as you saw at the last episode, Hercules is in the tournament.
Hercules versus Jack the Ripper.
Humanity, as you said, Qin Shi Huang,
Yep.
King Leonidas, Tesla, Kojiro, you saw in the last one, Raiden Tamimon, the sumo wrestler.
Okay. All right.
Adam, Rasputin, Lubu, Okita Soji, Nostradamus, Simo Haya, I think is how you pronounce it. He's known as the White Death. He's a sniper.
Okay.
Kintoki, and Jack the Ripper.
Interesting. So,
Here's a list.
Susanoo no Mikoto, that's the guy that literally made the Japanese islands. He was the one that dipped the spear into the ocean, and when he pulled up the resulting like ink spot that came out, those were the Japanese islands.
Okay.
So, and then Susanoo is very common with Amaterasu and all of that. So, I think Amaterasu was his wife, I want to say.
Okay.
And then obviously Bishamonten, you know that because you just got done with Good of 4. So it's the Japanese God of War.
Actually, I didn't play it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Oh, fuck. Well, never mind. Yeah, Bishamonten's Japanese God of War.
That was that dude with the beard, though, right?
No, that was Shibata.
Oh, okay.
Katsui Shibata. Who apparently, I guess, worked under Nobunaga. But yeah. Shibata is another very common Sengoku era character. I don't know what he did specifically, but then excuse me, my Dynasty Warriors is a lot stronger than my Samurai Warriors. But yeah, I know some Sengoku, but it's very, very, bless you, very generalized. But yeah, Susanoo. When we get to Aris next year, the one voiced by Nezuko, Kito Akari, her Noble Phantasm is actually a recreation of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so defeats the evil spirits, yeah. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, that's him in the heavens, and then they dipped the spear, and then when they pulled it out, the little dots that basically came out of the ocean, that's basically yeah. So Izanagi, yeah, Izanagi. Yeah. But yeah. So
yeah, and
yeah, that's gonna be an interesting fight.
Depending on, I don't know who he's fighting on. They don't have them like teamed up yet, like the fights.
Right.
It seems like anytime the fight comes up, what was it Brunhild?
Mm-hmm.
Just picks a fighter. Okay, send this guy out. So they're not like paired up like there's not Anubis versus Tesla or whatever. It's like whoever Brunhild is like, okay, let's send this guy out to fight this next round.
It's you mean Florence Nightingale?
Yeah. Is that her voice?
Yeah, it's Miyuki Sawashiro. Yeah.
Nice.
As soon as I saw that, because there was a couple in there, and I was like, Loki, that's well, no, I didn't. Sorry, not Loki. Hermes. It's like Hermes. That's Suabe, isn't it? Yeah, it's Suabe. So Emi Archer, and then for Loki apparently is Kirito. So I was like, oh, okay, dick. But yeah. It was yeah. So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting.
I mean, I could tell you what the next 3 fights are, or a couple fights are after Hercules and Jack the Ripper if you want. But unless you want to be surprised.
I know that Nostradamus showed up. I know that Tesla showed up. Because people have been saying that in the comments. And Okita showed up.
Okita showed up. I have not seen Nostradamus or Tesla.
Okay.
Unless they showed them in, like, image. But, Okita has showed up. I actually have an image of Okita.
Yes, there it is. Yep.
So, you already know the next fight is Jack the Ripper and Hercules.
Yes.
After that, it's Shiva and Raiden.
Okay.
And then after that, actually, for people who don't want to be spoiled about this part, I'll give you a couple seconds to go away. Okay. So Buddha actually defects to the humanity side and fights Bishimonten.
Interesting. Well, I mean, in Fate, they actually used Siddhartha as the servant. So even though it's like his nickname, or he eventually became Buddha, we're using him as Siddhartha, his when he was just a normal person, his birth name and all of that.
Right.
So, but then he becomes the savior class. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's why everyone assumed they were like, oh, well, when's Jesus going to show up? When's God show up? The Christian version of God. And it's kind of like, well, never. Which is kind of what I thought that they were going with when it was Adam. I thought it was when's it going to be David? I was all like, David has like combat experience. Like, it's hard to find people that have combat experience through the Bible, So that's why I was like, oh, well,
Adam? Okay. Yeah, that's what I was like. Adam? What is Adam going to do?
Yeah. I think that it is an interesting concept with the Jack the Ripper thing versus Hercules, because they are selling Hercules as this big beacon of justice. And I was all like, well, the Kevin Sorbo guy, all about justice.
Yeah.
Hercules. And then putting him up against Jack the Ripper, who was, like they said, one of the most notorious criminals. So it is like, crime and justice. So it's all like, I get it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, in the manga, what is it, Brunhild, and I can't remember the name of the other little...
Goru?
Yeah, they call them Brother Hercules. Not actually their brother, obviously, because different mythologies. But they consider him like their brother.
Yeah.
But Brunhild said she knew exactly who he was going to be fighting as soon as she found out he was in the tournament.
Makes sense. Yeah, So I appreciate that. I appreciate their concepts, matching up the characters and going in there. Yeah, it's an interesting take. It's an interesting concept. And again, you wouldn't think that just making your whole anime the tournament arc shouldn't work, but it does.
Yeah.
It does. And yeah. My only other complaint, aside from, like I said, sometimes the animation gets a little choppy.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing. We'll talk about Nagatoro in a minute, but the subs. I don't know why it's all like, Brynhilder's all like, the subs is like, fuck yeah, and it's all like, what? And then when Brynhilder's all like, oh, I'm in the Netflix subs, she's all like, oh, I'm gonna find he's humanity's biggest badass, and I'm like, I don't think a Norse Valkyrie would say this is humanity's biggest badass.
Well, maybe, but I mean that's also how it's translated in the manga. So it's not just the Netflix adaptation. That's also the fan translated manga as well.
Okay, that's just weird, man. And then they show that they have cell phones and modern day technology too. So it's kind of like I'm trying to believe it, but at the same time I'm like,
I mean, if a ninja village can have technology, why can't the gods?
Yeah. also funny that you mentioned the sniper guy too, because I was like, when is someone about to bring guns into this bitch?
Everybody's pretty much already sure who he's fighting. It's going to be Apollo.
Oh, that makes sense. Wait, was Apollo even on that list?
Yeah, he's on the list.
Oh, okay. Well, we all saw what happened with Apollo and Kratos, so.
Right. Well, we saw what happened to all the gods in Kratos.
Yeah.
Didn't end well.
Yeah. But yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed the series. I think everybody's blowing it way out of proportion with this whole Adam and Zeus fight and animation in general.
Look, man, I know I just went on for like almost half an hour about all this Lubu and Adam stuff and all that. I'm only in it for Aphrodite. Hashtag Tanakaria Master Race.
No, I'm also assuming that they didn't want to just have her for like a couple of episodes, because I'm pretty sure they added more of her into the series.
Does she actually do anything in the manga?
No, she just sits there.
That is such a Tanakarie role. We just need you to sit there and be Tanakarie. Done. So, in the end, she still sounds like Kiara. So I was like, fucking sold. Perfect. This role was made for you.
Yeah. So what would you give it?
Oh, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, absolutely.
Yeah.
1 point off for the questionable subs, 1 point off for the animation, everything else is solid.
Same.
And again, having the balls to do more like biblical, Catholic biblical figures. Again, we'll see if they incorporate any more like Indian gods, for instance. But yeah.
Oh, speaking of the Indian gods, there was a huge controversy with India because of Shiva.
Sure,
Again,
of course.
I mean, you know how they got upset at what, FGO as well for Parvati and the Karna and them. Yeah, they got upset at the fight with Shiva because Shiva didn't just go in there and destroy his enemy like right away. It's like, this is a tournament arc,
and it's a Japanese thing. So
also, I'm not gonna tell you who won, but yeah, you could probably guess.
Who did he fight?
Raiden Tommyman,
Oh.
the sumo wrestler.
Oh, so it's basically Ashura's Wrath.
Yeah. But yeah, they were super upset. I was seeing it in the comments of videos too, where all these Indian people were complaining.
No Vagina and Bobs?
No, none of that. And then their biggest comeback was, if they did this to Jesus, would you not complain about it? And I'm
They
like,
did do it to Jesus.
yeah.
It's called, whatchamacallit?
South Park?
What's up?
South Park?
Besides that.
Are you talking about that Jesus and Buddha manga, where they go on like a vacation?
That too. But no, hang on. What is it? What am I looking for?
Or maybe Family Guy, where they're constantly picking on Jesus and God? I just gave you three examples here, people.
Yeah, you're getting close. Drifters. Why can I remember Drifters? Drifters put Jesus is the bad guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's literally. It's actually, it's basically the same concept. It's like they pulled the historical figures right before their moment of death and have them basically fight for control. It's two factions fighting for control, and the people on the quote unquote bad guy side, they basically join up with them. And they kind of lose control over their souls and their mentalities and all that, but they gain like special superhuman powers.
Yeah.
So in this instance, Jesus retains his powers to like heal and be an influential person. He's like, and it's a fantasy world too, so there's like orcs and elves and shit, and he's over here teaching the orcs like how to farm and how to read and write, and
God, what a villain.
Yeah, right. And so. It's the same guy that did Hellsing, and you know how much of a rage boner he has for Catholicism.
Right.
So, they even said that there was an influential leader that did great work with us. It was Hitler.
It was Hitler.
Yeah, Hitler made an incredible civilization and all of that, and then they zoom out to the portrait, and it's Hitler. It's like, yeah, he gave us such great civilization, and it was like, oh my god, this guy. And then Joan of Arc is in there, but Joan of Arc is on the bad guy's side, and just like Jalter, she has control of flames and all of that. Anastasia is also in there. Guess what her ability is?
Ice?
Exactly. Rasputin is in there too. To be fair though, their version of Gills in
Drifters?
yeah, let me pull it up because he actually is kind of cool.
Well, they made a cool version of. I always call him Giles, but I guess it's Jules.
Look at this motherfucker right here. Now he actually looks cool. Kuru. Yes, and look, he looks literally like Hellsing. You can tell just by looking at it.
Yeah, same art style.
But yeah, they actually made him kind of cool.
We need to check this series out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically like Fate and all. Oh, there's Joan of Arc. So they modeled her more so after the Mila Jovovich version. Yeah,
with the short hair.
Yeah, with the short hair. Which makes more sense because when you're trying to pass as a dude, you can't exactly look hella kawaii like Fate's version. Didn't even try to make her look like a man. But yeah, and he's the giant ass halberd and all that. I don't know exactly what his super ability is. Maybe it's just his dumbass strength. But yeah, these are the bad guys. So there's Anastasia, Jesus. Fucking that's Hijikata. Hijikata can control the dead basically.
Oh.
There's Rasputin, Janu. Yeah. Oh, they actually did the comparison. There it is. Yeah. What happened? What went wrong? Oh yeah. There's Janu. Hijikata. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, John is still kind of waifu.
Yeah, looks like your type. Not gonna lie. But they also were a little bit more respectful with keeping her with the cross and all of that.
Yeah.
So. It's different. And then this is the main guy though. Shimazu. So he was also from Sengoku era, but he was much, almost like 20 years maybe after Nobunaga. So, but yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, Drifters looks interesting. Everyone check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely more Hellsing than Fate for sure, because he has no problem being like, yeah, we made the elves our slaves, and then they like just made all the elven women their how should I put this, relief ladies, and yeah, and so they just of course get slaughtered because that's bad. So yeah, it's very Helsingish. He's not afraid to go there. But yeah, and again, you got to make the comparison because Fate, Drifters, Ragnarok, they all want to do the same thing, where it's all like historical figures beat the crap out of each other. But it's also very anime.
Yeah,
because we're Japan. And then Marvel and DC wonder why they're losing. So, but yeah.
Yeah, where are their historical figures? Oh yeah, they were ghosts in Deadpool. That's right.
Yeah.
I think he had Abraham Lincoln, actual Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, but they were ghosts. So,
well, in terms of like how you would be able to make a concept out of them, that's a little bit more difficult.
Right.
I could see George Washington being something. You could definitely do that, but then your goddamn wife who killed him, so now he's gonna have to be an Avenger.
Well, I mean, he had it coming. Shouldn't have gotten names away.
Again, that's always been my biggest retcon, or my biggest loophole, or plot hole, I should say, is when Gil says that, oh yeah, people that died during all these singularities won't come back, and it's like, Mabe killed George Washington. And she also got Thomas Jefferson, right? She got somebody else, some other major person.
Yeah.
It was George Washington and...
I think it was basically anybody in that whole house.
Okay.
Like anybody, I guess, that would be president at the time.
Yeah, I think it was Jefferson.
It was probably Jefferson.
Yeah, she got like both of them. But yeah, and then when he says that, and it's like, dude, that means that America's never gonna happen then. So what is it? Is it all gonna eventually go back, or are people gonna stay dead? You can't have it both ways.
Right.
So yeah, that always kind of made me laugh. But yeah, Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope that they do good. And then I love again the effort they put into Aphrodite's boobs physics. She just exists and her boobs are just flopping all over the place. It's like, okay. And then we had the meme come out. Unfortunately, the meme didn't last too long thanks to Fast and the Furious.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, well. Good job. Yeah. That's it. I think I pretty much got everything I wanted to say.
Oh, yeah, that's what happened. It was banned in India.
Really? Record of Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Because of Shiva.
Amazing. Well, they don't deserve Aphrodite. They don't deserve Tanaka as Aphrodite. No Bobs or Vagine for them.
No. All right.
But yeah. So, I guess we can briefly discuss Nagatoro because I think we've pretty much wrapped it up. I think we only needed really to cover the last episode, right?
Yeah, because we talked about the other ones before.
Okay. So I guess my biggest concern and biggest question is what did they leave out in this episode compared to what you remember in the manga? Or did they pretty much cover everything? What did they change?
They pretty much covered everything. They did change the whole thing with the president, with the painting controversy. They don't help her get the painting back on the wall. They just automatically go to, this means we won. That means you can't shut down, the whole thing. They didn't fight for her to get her painting back on the wall.
So they made him more scumbaggy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they still made her wear the bunny suit outfit, though. And help sell the Total Cat merch. See, as far as I know, the end credit scene did happen in it was actually in one of the previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I forget which one, but it happened at the end of what happened in that episode during the last part. Let me see here. Was it like 13 or something? Looking this up really quick. Nagatoro.
Yeah. So I thought that the art club president had appreciation for bunnies before all of this, so I thought it was pretty funny how that was the way she got introduced to the bunny suit, was through the friends.
Yeah. Because she lost.
That's kind of funny.
Oh, they did leave out a chapter going by how far they went into the manga.
Mm-hmm.
There was a chapter where Senpai brings a bento that he made, and it looks pretty crappy. Nagatoro sees it and she's like making fun of the way he's making his bento, so the next day she brings her own so she could share it with him.
Right.
But then he comes with like this really nice looking bento because said I was tired the day before. I didn't have time to make my lunch. I just kind of threw something together. But I got up early this time in order to make it. And she was disappointed. And was it Gamo and Yoshi try some of the food? I'm pretty sure they cut it out because of this, but I also find it kind of weird that they would, since they've shown Nagatoro's butt a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
That after they eat it, they like show them like with no clothes on, and there's like chickens covering their
like Giseki no or Shugeki no Soma.
Yeah. Got it. And the same thing happens to Nagatoro when she finally tries something from his bento. But yeah, they didn't add that chapter in there. Maybe in the OVA, if they do an OVA.
Right. There you go.
But for the most part, they added just about all the important stuff, really. I actually did not remember that kiss at first, at the end, until somebody pointed it out in a comment on Facebook. And I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, it did happen here.
Yeah, I was like, that's like the second time she's giving him the peck on the cheek, and I was all like, yeah, that's what I said. It's not really, it's kind of like considered normal now. And she's all like, your usual prize. It's like, well, I mean, yeah. So,
well, he didn't expect the kiss, because I think that's like one of the only times she does it.
got it.
And for right now, she's making it very clear that she wants him to kiss her.
So this was this basically was their intended target to end this first season on for sure. Then the art club or the culture festival.
Yeah, it's pretty much where I expected it, because it's like the first time they do a multi-chapter arc in the manga. Before that, it was just kind of, single chapters. Here's what's going to happen in this one. And then they did this one where it was like 3 or 4 chapters.
Yeah.
For the Culture Fest. And then after that, they started doing more. Well, the author started doing more like longer arc type stories. So yeah, I figured they would end it here at the end of the Culture Fest, where they introduced the president.
So now I'm wondering, and it probably is true, that they did that whole thing with the student council and getting her photo back into the exhibit to lighten up the image.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
So it doesn't seem like they're just toying around so viciously.
Yeah, because like I said, in the manga, they didn't do that. They took away the image. They were like taking her to the office, and before they could take her away, Nagatoro says, "Hey, wait!" And then says, "That means we win, right?" And got her to say, "Yeah, you guys win."
Wow.
So yeah, they didn't try to fight for the painting to stay up. But that was like the only difference, really. Everything else is pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's just for me that would have been was more hardcore, more intense than what they ended up doing. It was like, oh, okay, they're honorable after all. But in the manga, it sounds like he was really determined to make them as scummy as possible. Which I get it in the context of the manga, but now that I know it's Mikako Komatsu, she's too pure for this. Even as Gamo. I know Gamo wants to be a good guy.
Yeah, she's a hopeful friend. I mean, she came up with the whole Toro Cat thing.
Yes.
Got them a bunch of money.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, this is the Gamo, or the Naga Cat thing that everyone's talking about. It's super popular. And then the Bunny Club president, she has the rubber strap. Which, by the way, I wonder if they're going to sell those, like actual official merch.
I'd be surprised if they did. Okay, so here's the chapter. See? Where they get her. This is her trying to fight for it. This is the disciplinary committee pushing her away. And this is when they come up. She's apologizing that they couldn't finish their competition. And this is Nagatoro and them saying, "We win, right?"
Like Yoshi in the back.
Oh, right there. So yeah, see, that's how they ended it for that. Not like they did in the anime.
That was definitely more honorable in the anime. So, but that's fine. That's fine. It gives a little bit, like I said, it gives a little bit more character development. It shows that they're a little bit more, they're not as dickish as they used to be in the manga. So that's fine. I mean, both are fine. If they would have done it just like that in the anime, I never would have figured. I'd just been like, well, it's one way to do it, but okay. So, because either way, how they showed it in the manga to how they showed it in the anime, both versions basically say that they didn't really stand a chance at beating Art Club President. Straight up.
They didn't.
So,
yeah,
and just like our guy in Discord, it's the power of anime titties.
Yep.
So, but yeah. So.
I mean, they definitely had to beat the worst character in the show. So, I mean,
yeah, I agree. It is worse because sometimes her enhancements are out and then sometimes they're hidden, and it's like, can we get a little consistency here? So, well, yeah.
I think they become more shown in other chapters.
Excellent.
Like if they do a second season, expect to see her in that bunny outfit again.
Again, I'm laughing too that they awoke in that side of her. I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that. So that's pretty funny. Yeah. But yeah. It's I'm looking forward. Like I said, I'm a little sad that I didn't see the live stream. I had completely forgotten about it after the episode ended, because they were like, congratulations live stream. We did it. Cool. But I don't think they made any announcements either, because I'm pretty sure if they announced season 2 on that live stream, all of like social media would have been like, so.
Yeah, either they would have been like, yay, a new season, or why would you give this a second season?
Correct. The show's so hateful. Oh my. So, look, they even lightened up her dark skin. How dare they give this show a second season?
Right? It's so racist.
She just keeps toying with everybody, and they just like it. They're enabling toying.
Better than bullying. Okay.
Yeah. in the normal world.
In the normal world, yeah.
Oh my god.
In anime.
Quit toying with people. Why she always toying with people? Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, so I will concede that you were right. You were a loyal Nagatoro fan.
Yep.
And it paid off. This was a good show. And it continued the tradition of bullying shows. I did share the meme in Discord about the moves a chair in the past and now the future, and then it's Takagi and with Senpai and Nagatoro's with what's his name? Guy.
Senpai.
Yeah. So Nishikata.
I think his name's Naota in the show.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Okay.
But Senpai, basically.
Yeah, Paisen.
That too.
So Takagi and Paisen, and then Nagatoro with Nishikata. So yeah, but yeah, now we get Komi. So look forward to that.
Is that a bully show?
Not necessarily, but it was like the answer. It was the other side answer. So instead of a show that's like, please bully me, this one is like, please be nice to her. She has anxiety. Please be nice. I know. I want to say that there will be somebody in there for you. Like, I showed you the masochist character in Komi, which I think would be your choice. But at the same time too, I don't know how long you can take the like, just talk, damn it, or at least put something in your mouth like Nezuko. So, but I think the supporting cast will be more interesting for you than Komi herself.
Probably. We'll see.
Yeah.
Who knows? I might have the opposite.
Yeah. Feel like Komi's cool, everyone else is weird.
Maybe?
Fair.
Got something in my throat.
But yeah. Yeah. So, I guess my last question for you in terms of Nagatoro is what can we look forward to in season 2?
Okay. Yeah, sorry. No, I got something in my throat.
Okay.
There's definitely going to be more toying. I think if they do a second season, they'll introduce her sister.
Nice.
I think she said she had a brother as well, but they haven't shown him yet. Or the rest of her family. So far, it's just her sister. But it's an older sister. And, yeah, she likes messing with her as well.
You mean toying?
Yeah, toying with her.
Yes.
Let's see. I don't think they'll get they shouldn't get that far. Well, basically, the relationship's just going to progress more. She's going to be less. Definitely going to be more flirty, basically, with her toying.
Less toying.
Yeah. And I think the friends will start becoming a even bigger part.
You good?
See, I'm pretty sure they're not going to get to this point, but I know that at some point they do show some of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because he does have, like, 2 that they introduce in some of the newer chapters, but I don't think they'll get that far. That would be like a 3rd season if they did a 3rd season.
And then we get to meet the bunny president's cousin.
Yeah, we'll get to see the cousin. Who's just like the president. And will model nude for you.
Look, I just want to see the bunny club president's motorcycle. That's all I want. Yeah, Roman's dying, so don't mind him. He's dying on camera. He's dying on mic.
Sorry, I don't know what's in my throat, but it won't go away.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, motorcycle I would say would be in a 3rd season too. I think, like I said, they would probably introduce the cousin at the end of the 2nd season if they did a 2nd season. But not long after that, if they did the 3rd, she would probably you'd probably see President on her motorcycle like the very next episode. Or 2.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully it comes up, and like I said, I hope that 100 girlfriends who really, really, really love you.
Yeah.
I hope that one gets picked up. So
I do too.
So
that's like my favorite parody romance manga right now. So. So yeah.
All right. And I know we said this while we've been going on so long, but I'm for sure gonna start on Villainess season 2. Girlfriend cross girlfriend looks pretty fun, and then the detective is already dead, and I want to say there's another one too that has Ayane Sakura and Daiki, the Deku basically.
Okay.
That they're in one too, but I just can't remember the name of it. But yeah, those ones are probably the ones I'm gonna start looking into. And distract myself from finishing the shows I said I was going to finish. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm going to check out Villainous as well, because I did watch the 1st season.
Yeah.
We're going to see how I feel about the 2nd. Because I remember I mentioned it multiple times how I hate really dense harem MC characters. So we'll see if she either I still like her, or if she just starts to annoy me with how dense she is about what's going on.
Just feed her cupcakes, man.
We'll see if that helps. She might need like an actual cake. Detective is already dead. That seemed kind of interesting. I've seen some images for it. It looks pretty cool. And I think there were a couple others that were coming out that I was interested in watching. But again, the season's not that. Doesn't have a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I'll have to check again on one of the websites and see what those are.
Yeah, and then fall is going to be like wild.
Yeah, fall's going to be pretty stacked.
And of course, that's when I'm going to be super busy. So
right.
With my new project. So, but yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, hopefully we'll actually talking about what I've got coming up. Hopefully we'll have time to talk about it. But because we got the viewing party will be on the 15th. That'll be the first Rosalia movie. Then on the 29th we can do the second one. And then the week of the 19th we should have our talk with my homies.
Yeah, it'll either be the 19th or one of those days. It depends on when they're able to do this.
Correct. But yeah, and then that'll be it until further notice.
Cool.
So cool. Right.
You might get occasional episodes with just me, but
yeah.
I mean, how interesting can those be?
There'll be Godzilla discussions,
right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Weekly Godzilla podcast.
So this actually, you're gonna spice it up. Be like, this is my love for Emilia.
Oh yeah. You know, I finally got my my big Emilia figure.
Nice.
The one that guy told me to kill myself over. It finally arrived Saturday.
Joke's on him. You're actually Natsuki Subaru, and then you do the disco pose.
Yeah. When I take a photo of that, I should do the pose.
Yeah.
And say, I'm still here. I'm still alive. Returned by death.
And you progressed the story, too, because you survived his death wishes, and you got your prize.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Just sucks that I had to get it while I was moving.
Mm.
Which actually, we did find a place. We're going to move back out here.
Nice.
I'm going to stay with some family, so that way I can get my credit going and buy a house. Hopefully.
Nice. Yeah, now's the time. So
the only thing is, it'll be out of state.
Good.
Because I can't. It's too expensive here.
Yeah.
The state is crazy, but there's prices on everything.
Yeah.
From milk to gas.
Yeah. Well, I'll see what I can do about that, but no promises. And with that,
yeah, just whisper in that guy's ear when he's asleep. You want to lower gas prices to under $2. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of us going on about Godzilla and Ragnarok.
Yes.
And Lubu.
Yes.
We didn't really talk a whole lot about Nagatoro, but I mean, we did that every week.
And this was the final episode, so yeah.
Right. Then we'd already been going for about 3 hours. Jesus. And we said this was going to be a relatively, what do you call it?
This is a condensed episode. We were focused.
Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't until the end where I started coughing. But, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Let us know what you thought of Record of Ragnarok, and if you watched Godzilla Singular Point, what you thought of that, and the season finale of Nagatoro.
And Aphrodite memes. I want to see them more.
Yeah, post whatever you could find on the Discord. We've got a few on there, but we would like some more.
I know Roman liked the Fubuki one.
That one was nice.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah. Next episode's on the 19th, so we'll see you till then.
All right.
Bye.
Late.